This Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports, 1140. It's time. It is that time. Time for Stiles and Watkins.
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140. Find us on YouTube at Sacktown Sports 1140.
It's time for Alan Stiles and Chris Watkins.
Yes. We have made it to Friday. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. And not only have we made it to Friday, we have made it to Kings basketball. Chris, Nate, behind the glass for us today. Chris, how you doing? How was your Halloween?
Pretty good. I don't know about you, but I didn't have a single trick-or-treater stop by my neighborhood yesterday, so didn't quite get in the spirit that way, but watched some scary movies and ready for a Friday. Feels like we kind of got a little bit early start yesterday. So
there you go. Nate, how was I know you're working, getting stuff ready for the show. How was your All Hallows Eve, Nate? How you doing?
I'm good. I had a good time. It was a lot of fun.
Watch any scary movies, Nate?
No. Oh, well, I watched that Jets-Texans game.
Scariest of them all.
Yeah, no. Just took a family friend, like a little cousin out,
right.
And he was dressed as Sonic.
How old? He was the correct age?
6.
Okay. Might be his last year. Might be his last year.
Yeah,
all right. Well, that was
a little old.
That was a lot of fun yesterday. I hope everybody had a good and safe Halloween. I can't remember, Chris, because I'm washed up now.
Aren't we all?
Were people, if you are more of a youngin', do you go out that night? I mean, Thursday's a pretty solid night, right?
Is, yeah.
For a Halloween. It's better than a Tuesday or a Monday or a Wednesday. So I'm assuming
people take today off,
because then you get the double trouble where you went to the Sins and Sinners at Thunder Valley on Saturday. Then you
better be getting paid.
This is the best game ever. And then you get to double up and have some more fun on Thursday. But it's done now, right? Because I'm very big on if it's a birthday, I'd rather if my birthday is on a Thursday, I'd rather celebrate it the Saturday before.
Oh, really?
Yes, I can't do after. Once it's cooked, it's cooked.
No.
Like you can't have a Halloween party this weekend. You can't have a Halloween party tonight.
You definitely
Chris,
could.
don't start with me again.
Could. Come on,
Nate.
Come on,
Nate's on the phone already. Nate, can you have a Halloween party November 1st? I think that's a no. Let's ask.
I understand what you're saying though, because it is kind of like, after yesterday, you kind of put it in the closet.
It's
right?
over.
Yeah.
What was the question?
Okay, so I said when it comes to birthdays, things like that, I'm a before guy. If my birthday was on a Thursday, I'd rather celebrate the Saturday before than even Friday or Saturday.
So like if it's on a Thursday, if you're celebrating 5 days before, essentially,
I'd rather do that. So with Halloween, right? With Halloween, would you rather? It was today. It was yesterday, right? A Thursday. Should you be able to have a Halloween party today or this weekend?
Well, it is America, and you're allowed to do it.
Yeah, you're allowed
so
to.
You're allowed to, but I'm not a fan of it. We had our big Halloween bash that we have every year
it's over now.
Last Saturday.
Yeah.
And it's done. It's weird now. It's over. It's over.
Yeah, now it's officially weird to wear costumes.
Yes.
Yeah. So now people are looking at me with this hair, and they're like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I know."
Did he think it was? Did he think it wasn't? Yeah.
Right.
Did
he
know
it
was
temporary?
permanent?
Yeah. I know.
All right. Well, as we do turn the page into November, we do know there's something that we can celebrate, and that's the fact that we have Kings basketball all weekend long. Kings, they have the Hawks, and then they are taking on the Raptors. They get the Hawks today, 4:30. I love the East Coast starts, man. I'll tell you that much right now. We get a 4:30 start today. You get a 4:30 start tomorrow. Then we get to enjoy the NFL, and if you're a Niner fan, you just get to relax because they get a bye, and then the Kings hopefully they don't get the Miami flu, but they head to Miami on Monday, and we hope that's after 2 W's against some teams that are just, they're not very good right now, and they're probably not going to be good all season long. But something is taking the social media by storm, and it's so funny, Chris. We're getting ready to start the show, or we're setting up to do the show, and I get an email from The Athletic, and I'm just reading through, had no clue what I was getting into because it just said 4 names. What did it say? Austin Reeves, Jonathan Kuminga, and 4 more names to watch as the NBA trade takes shape. I just clicked. There is no King player mentioned anywhere. I just click on it because, okay, let's see what else is in there. And who pops up in that article from Sam Amick and John Hollinger? None other than Keegan Murray. So I took a screenshot. I posted it on social media. People are catching it saying there's no way. So we're going to have that conversation. That's at 11. But what are your initial thoughts seeing that, Chris? Is that just, hey, this is how the machine works? Could there be some smoke to that fire? What were your initial thoughts when you saw it pop up? Because this isn't, some people are saying there's no way. Look, we've talked to Sam Amick a lot. He's not saying it's going to happen, but if Sam is actually putting it out there in an article, it's worth a conversation.
Yeah, I mean, my first thought is just, kind of exactly what you just laid out. I mean, normally if that's like a, disrespect whatsoever, we've had him on the show, but if it's an Evan Siddery of the world, like I'm probably taking it with a massive grain of salt and I'm saying, okay, like how much does this guy know? Who is he talking to? Is this just agent talk? Is this maybe something that he just heard on the side and is, it was just thrown into a conversation and he's deciding to run with it? Mm-hmm. I think the fact that Sam's name is attached to it definitely brings at least some level of legitimacy to the conversation for sure. I mean, Sam's incredibly plugged in and he doesn't just throw these things out, most importantly. And I know like this is, simply an article. It's not him reporting anything or anything like that. It is just in the style of like a Bleacher Report article. It's just saying names to look out for, not even necessarily saying there's any sourcing behind it, to my understanding. But it definitely tells me that at the very least, with names like Giannis being thrown out there, Jimmy Butler's name has been thrown out there. It just makes me feel like maybe the Kings would be a little bit more willing to be in those conversations than maybe what I anticipated, and maybe it might even be a sooner conversation than what maybe we all anticipated. I've been saying like, oh no, DeMar's being added to this team still. They got to figure out how to slowly integrate him and get him up to speed before you just throw in another wrench into the equation. And maybe just maybe that's not the case, but definitely really shocking to see Keegan's name involved in that.
So at 11 o'clock, that's when we will kind of give you a breakdown of what the article said, and we will get your thoughts on that, of course. 12 o'clock, we have Mark Haynes, of the Sacramento Observer. And at 12:30, Jesse Sapolo, 4-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time Pro Bowler. Those will be done by Chris. I'm taking off at 12, got to handle some business, but Chris and Nate will take care of you and get you ready for the drive, guys, leading up to the weekend as well. But before we get to the weekend and all that Sunday NFL action, Chris, we had some Thursday NFL action. New York Jets beat the Houston Texans 21-13. Look, the New York Jets, they were at 2-6. They improved to 3-6. Yeah. The Houston Texans, they've been hanging around at 6-2, been winning games. They kind of, honestly, guys, you know what it just reminded me of? The Texans were kind of giving me Eagles vibes, not fully fraudulent. And I think the Eagles were dealing with some, and I'm saying the Eagles from last season, not fully fraudulent like the Eagles, but just you're winning games, but do I really believe you? And I don't think any team would be able to get through what the Texans are getting through right now. You're missing Nico Collins. You lose Stephon Diggs. So you're asking Dalton Schultz to run go routes. That's what it's come down to for the Texans. They still had an opportunity. Tank Dell did all he could, but you got the Jets and the weaponry that they have with Hassan Reddick, T for Temple U coming back into the fold. And then you get Devontae Adams, who left the game with the concussion and then or was evaluated for a concussion. Then he came back into the game and he ends up scoring a touchdown. And they were getting booed, Chris. They were getting booed off the field out there at MetLife, and then the Jets are able to turn it around. Does this win say more? Does this win say anything about the Jets, or were the Texans just down so bad, even though they did have Mixon, who they could not stop Mixon, even though it's almost like the Jets said, you can run Mixon all day long. We know you can't throw the football, and they just let Joe Mixon eat, where a lot of people, I think, thought, let's crowd the box. I think the Jets said, you can run Mixon all day long, right, but we know you can't throw the football right now unless it's a Tank Dell. And Tank Dell tried, but does this say anything about the Jets, or were the Texans just down too bad?
I mean, I think it says at least that there's still a little bit of fight left in that dog. Like I think that the Jets definitely, like you said, being 2-6, it kind of feels like that their season might already be over. I mean, again, they can continue to scratch and claw, and maybe they can have a miraculous run of 8 or 9 wins down the stretch that can maybe put them into the playoffs. But no, I think that it just maybe shows that they still have a little bit of fight left, and I think that they have put themselves far enough behind the 8 ball to where it's kind of not going to matter. But I guess it still shows that the Jets on any given week can have a little bit of fight left in them. And I'm looking at the standings here as it stands right now, and they're not completely out of the wild card race or anything like that. It's definitely an uphill battle, but if anything, I guess for another week, the Jets still breathe is really the only thing I'm reading out of it. But they still have some tough opponents left in front of them, so we'll see how it goes. I mean,
Yeah, and then from the Texans side, now it turns into a conversation where, and I see people starting to heat up. We were on this early, or I should, I won't speak for you, but just as far as this CJ Stroud looking a little sophomore slumpy to start the season, even though they're winning games. Now he has no weapons, so now it's hard for anybody to say, okay, well, is it the sophomore slump or the fact that his weapons were in and out? Right. He's kind of going to get a pass, I think, until the playoffs, but I think it is fair to say he hasn't looked the same either.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think it's, defenses have figured him out a little bit more. And his weapons, I think trying to figure out, losing Nico Collins for as early as they did. I mean, Nico was looking like one of the best 2 to 3 receivers in the NFL when he was playing. That's a really big loss for them. And then to, pile Stephon Diggs on top of that. Joe Mixon was out for the first couple weeks. I think there's a lot of reasons why, but to me, I kind of talk out of 2 sides of my mouth saying quarterback isn't a win stat, but I think the fact that they were still able to kind of scratch and claw their way to 6-3 so far, I think that shows the kind of quality of quarterback CJ Stroud is, because throughout the games, he's not lighting it up, but it seems like every single week they're in these close games, and they've ended up on the winning side way more times than not in his 2 seasons. And so it's just tough for me to try and say, because Patrick Mahomes hasn't statistically had a great season this year either, and his team's 6-0. And so it's kind of a matter of, I'm sure both of those guys would tell you, I don't really care what my stats look like as long as, the win column has a lot more than the loss column.
Yeah, they're probably going to win their division.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to do what he's done in the first 2 years, maybe the bar has been set a little bit too high. On the other side, Bucks lose, Rockets beat the Mavs, Suns beat the Clippers. What does it mean in the Wild Wild West? Sabonis continues to cook, and there's a little bit of confusion about the game tonight from Chris the Mom. We will clear all that up when we return. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The Sacramento Kings play here.
He's got the triple. Sacramento takes the lead. Outstanding ball movement by Sacramento.
Every triple, every jam, every Kings win.
Sabonis with the jam over the Joker. He's got the 3-point shot.
Get your Kings fix all season long.
Right here on your home of the Sacramento Kings.
Here's a steal by Fox. The breakaway. He's got the rip with the left hand.
Sacktown Sports at sacktownsports.com.
Sacramento State football this Saturday at 6 versus Portland State. Get your tickets at hornetsports.com.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
UC Davis football is back in action Saturday, 1 o'clock. We will pick that lucky number to score our Stiles and Watkins family 4-packs and parking to check out The Aggies hosting Northern Colorado this Saturday. 916, Chris the Mom, a little bit of, I guess, confusion about the game today. But yes, the Kings play today. And I would say if you're on Facebook, there's a lot of different things. I'll see stuff, Chris. There'll just be a random celebrity holding a kid, and they'll say Denzel Washington with his son. And it's not. It's not Denzel Washington's son. So a lot of crazy stuff.
Facebook.
Yeah, a lot of crazy stuff can happen out there. But the Kings do play tonight. And we were looking today, and we are looking for a Friday and or night if you're on the East Coast beam. So that is how you have it. Nate, I'm giving you this one because I just thought that I don't know why you'd have some fun with this. So I came across this. We're about to get into Sabonis's numbers and some of the wins and losses from last night. But this is crazy, guys. And I might sound like I'm on my lawn again, but Wizards rookie Keyshawn George grew from 6'5" to 6'8" over the past 15 months or so. And it's from Chase Hughes. He said he had his growth plates scanned this summer, and they're still open. Says he thinks he will grow to 6'10". So I just found that interesting because is that an NBA thing, or are kids these days, are you getting your growth plates scanned?
Is that an NBA thing?
Yeah, funny you found that interesting.
Is that a
no, it's not an NBA thing. It's a genetics. It can happen to anybody.
No, not the growth. I'm saying getting your growth plates scanned.
Getting them scanned, and then were
To
they
see if they're
medically
still open.
Oh, to see if they're
still open.
That's a wealthy person thing, is
Well,
what I'll
that's
tell
what
you.
I'm-
I mean, I don't know if it's NBA specific, but I can tell you that's not a free.
You
scan.
can't go to your normal checkup, your physical. Hey, can you?
Hey, you're the
scan
one with
these?
the kid. Yeah, you would know more about the medical checkups these days because I've never had or heard anybody have any sort of, hey, how tall am I? Hey, what's it look like? My bones are saying how tall I'm going to be.
I do feel like I remember friends saying, "Oh yeah, my doctor
Sure,
said
yeah.
they're still open," but I think that's more of like, hey, based on your age.
Yeah, right.
They didn't, because he's 20. This guy Keyshawn George is 20 years old.
Yeah.
So he got him scanned, right? Because guys, they did not stop growing until 22, whatever it is. So go out there. I just want to know, our kid, these parents these days that think they got the next whoever, go get them. Go get them
scanned and find out early.
Yeah. What are we looking at here, Doc? Right? Are we looking at a 5'10"er?
What sport should I try and
Am I giving this kid up for adoption or what?
Yeah.
Are they gonna give me generational wealth?
Yeah. Are we looking at golf, or are we looking at
Right.
NBA? What are we doing here? Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. Bucks lose, Chris. Rockets beat the Mavs. Suns beat the Clippers. What is going on with the Bucks? Did you see the line yesterday for Dame Lillard? Just completely awful, and they're already talking about possibly firing Doc Rivers. This thing could go south, as we have the trade conversation that we're going to get into. This thing could go south in a quick way. Damian Lillard, Chris, he had 4 points last. He had 4 points last night, 6 assists, 2 rebounds. Giannis continuing to do his thing, 37 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. They lose to the Grizzlies. Ja Morant is putting up, I don't know what it is. These point guards right now are really putting out some Russell Westbrook, James Harden type assist numbers. Ja Morant last night, 26 points, 10 rebounds, 14 assists. 14 assists. What's going on with the Bucks, man?
I mean, it's tough when when Dame's 0 of 6, Gary Trent is 0 of 7, and then Taurean Prince is 1 of 6 from 3. You got your 3 best shooters, the 3 guys you rely on probably more than anybody else, and they go 1 of 19 from 3. That's why they lost last night. And then you can throw Bobby Portis 1 of 5. They couldn't hit perimeter shots. I do wonder how much of this is maybe Doc. He gets hired in the middle of last year, and he had a full training camp, full off season this summer. I wonder how much of it is maybe Doc tried to implement some new stuff, and that new stuff is just clearly not working. I kind of wonder how much of it is just as simple as that, is that they're trying to do something, trying to have a new identity that they didn't have before. And, it's really curious because, I mean, they still have Giannis, they have Dame, who, even though he's not shooting well, is still somebody who can light it up and, definitely isn't having a lot of nights like he had last night. But I don't know. It shouldn't just be Chris Middleton's out, and so now we're an absolutely terrible team. It's an absolute mess, and with all the Giannis rumors swirling left and right, it's about as bad as you can imagine the vibes could get in Milwaukee right now. I'm sure if their sports radio were on, it would be a lot of panic, a lot of fear, or a lot of them trying to calm everybody down and say, we still have an MVP, a guy who's, won NBA finals before. I'm not worried 1-5, but they should definitely be concerned.
Yeah, I mean, and look, Paolo Banchero, we'll get into it when we go around the NBA, but Paolo Banchero missing time, but this isn't your grandfather's Eastern Conference. There's some hitters in this conference, and they're not completely healthy yet, but once these teams do get healthy, the Sixers, like I said, the Magic get Banchero back, the Cavs are rolling right now. This is not a conference right now that you can just sleepwalk through and then show up. So it's a problem out there in Milwaukee. And, Chris, we talked a little bit about it yesterday, and there's going to be more trade talk, like we said, at 11. But what type of package, not the Kings specifically, but what would a Giannis package even look like?
Every draft pick you have. Every pick you have. I mean, if Rudy Gobert went for, or whatever, Mikal Bridges goes for 5 picks or whatever, 4 picks in a pick swap. I mean, just from a Kings example, all your young, it's Keegan Murray, it's probably Devin Carter too, and it's probably, next year's first round pick, and then every first round pick you have available, and then in the years that we can't trade first round picks, it's pick swaps, and that's what you're going to get for Giannis. Like, I think, Miami's a team that's rumored to get him. Jaime Jaquez, probably Tyler Hero to match salary or to get towards that salary number. And again, every single draft pick you have. And it's a scary proposition, because unless you already have a team that's built and ready to win championships for whatever the next 5 to 6 years, how are you supposed to build if you spend all of your assets trading for Giannis and you can't really put a team around him? So it's a mess. I mean, trying to trade for a super duper star, that really doesn't happen often. I mean, Kevin Durant, I guess, is an example. There's just not many examples of like these mega stars, the top 5 players in the NBA getting traded. That value is kind of unheard of. So we kind of don't even know really what it would take to do a trade for Giannis. It might even take like 2 or 3 teams to get involved on the side.
Yeah, I think the reality of the situation is, I sit here and say we're not going to do the exercise specifically for the Kings. I think the bottom line is that deal for Giannis, it probably wouldn't be Keegan Murray.
It would be Keegan plus things.
Well, I'm saying if you look at the makeup of the team, it would probably make more sense for it to be Sabonis. Based on the makeup of the team.
But the Bucks would have to want Sabonis. They would much rather have Keegan Murray, who's a younger shooter, who's team controlled, less money, all of it. I mean, you want the youngest assets possible.
Of course. So, we'll see if the Bucks end up actually exploding, and look, if they do, or imploding, I should say, and if they do, hey, we're still grabbing a shout for Bobby Portis. Maybe he's losing a little bit of value. Keep bricking out there, Bobby. You can come out here to Sacramento. There's plenty of construction happening because we're growing very, very fast. On the other side, I got one thing that worries me about the Kings, and it reminds me of what's happening with the San Francisco 49ers. We'll tell you what it is when we return. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now, during our Veterans Day sale, save 40% on the Sleep Number Special Edition Smart Bed. Limited time. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Model Year End pricing is back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
During the Model Year End event, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make lower payments. It's no wonder why Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop. Come in today or check out our entire inventory online at folsomlakehonda.com.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at folsomlakehonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda.
Go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
It's football season, and Uber Eats is dropping undefeated deals on all your game day favorites. This week, score buy one, get one free spicy chicken sandwiches from Wendy's, only on Uber Eats. Craving even more? We've got you covered with game day deals on pizza, burgers, tacos, and more all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms, taxes, and fees apply. See app for details.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large, because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question. Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system and you were a bit surprised at how much it cost? Or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emron Pilati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sacktown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
Happy Friday to everybody out there. Taking you up to 2 p.m. Stiles and Watkins. I'm a little bit worried about something, guys. And you know what's funny is that I did the Locked On Kings podcast with the one and only Matt George yesterday, and this actually didn't make the pod. We were on a timeline, on a time crunch, and you know me, Chris, I can get going. When I get going, I can really get going. And I didn't even get to say this, and I said it to Matt after we stopped recording, and he said, "Oh man, I wish I had let you go some more because that's a really interesting statement." And this is it really just kind of came to me as we were going over some of the numbers, and yes, De'Aaron Fox has taken the most shots out of the big three. And Chris, you had a great shout during the pre-show just as far as why it doesn't seem like that, and the reason it doesn't seem like that is because of how often DeMar DeRozan is at the free throw line, how that affects shot attempts, and just how often you're seeing DeMar DeRozan with the basketball, shooting the basketball. And, I asked Mike Brown, I believe it was the first game of the season, about getting DeMar DeRozan into the fold and has there been a balance there? And he didn't poo-poo it, but he essentially said, hey, because of how good of a passer DeMar DeRozan is, it hasn't been that much of an issue. Now that we've watched a couple games, Chris, it does really seem like DeMar, I wouldn't say is dictating the flow, but it feels like it's been a lot of DeMar, right? We've been fairly DeMar heavy. And, you know, it reminded me of something that George Kittle said with Christian McCaffrey out, and George Kittle saying, you know, getting Christian McCaffrey, he's such a good player. Our offense started running through Christian McCaffrey. And then when we lost Christian McCaffrey, we kind of had to find our identity a little bit, even though Jordan Mason has done pretty darn well and Isaac Orendo has done pretty darn well. It hasn't been the same because of everything that Christian McCaffrey has brought to the table. So even though the Niners were a really good offense prior to Christian McCaffrey, in a way it feels like you thought he would be a good addition, and he has been, but they've also become a little bit Christian McCaffrey dependent, and they've had to work through that, whereas they never had Christian. You can't miss something you never had. And even though they had a good running game, you get Christian McCaffrey, and you become a little bit Christian McCaffrey heavy because of how good he is. I don't think it's something to worry about quite yet, Chris, but I do want to make sure, and I know Sabonis has been very, very aggressive. I guess I'm more so talking about De'Aaron Fox, even though he is getting his shots. The way it looks, I'm not fearful, but I am a little bit worried that the Kings could become, based on the new version of this Kings taking less threes and really running things through DeMar with the ISO, that the Kings could in a way become DeMar DeRozan dependent the same way that the Niners became a little Christian McCaffrey dependent.
I mean, I think some of that is naturally going to happen. I mean, whenever you add anybody to your team, you start to lean on them for specific things in the same way. Like if Keegan Murray's hurt or something like that, like they're going to miss Keegan Murray's 3-point attempts and no one's going to be able to replicate it or just fill in that spot. And so, yeah, I mean, if DeMar misses some time, for sure, of course, they're going to miss him. And there's going to be elements where they feel a little bit lost because they're going to think, oh man, normally when a team goes on an 8-0 run, that's when we look for DeMar, and now he's not there. And so somebody, like, you're always going to feel that. But looking at it from a usage percentage standpoint, like DeMar has the same exact usage percentage, 23%, as Domantas Sabonis. De'Aaron actually leads the team in usage percentage at 27%. So I just think if DeMar misses time, and it's something I said a lot in the preseason, this team is built to be able to have people step up. If De'Aaron misses 10 games, last year that would have felt like a death sentence. This year you have DeMar who can step up. You have Malik Monk who can step up. If DeMar goes down, same token. You can have De'Aaron step up. You can run back to the offense that you had last year, a lot more reliance on Sabonis. Again, Malik Monk can step into the scoring role that DeMar maybe fills. The tough one is if Sabonis goes out. If Sabonis goes out, of course, you lose a big part of your identity, but I think that there's a world where you could figure out a different type of offense to run with De'Aaron, with DeMar, with Malik, and with Keegan. Just a lot more shooting, a lot more high tempo, high flow, and really just a lot more isolation ball. So, I mean, I definitely think you're right that if DeMar misses time, this team has already started to kind of lean on him in certain situations, but I think at the end of the day, the team is also prepared more so than ever, at least that I've seen with this group, to where if DeMar does miss time, I think that there's enough pieces that have played together enough to where they should be able to, not within a game or two, but if given a reasonable amount of time, I feel like they could adjust if something really, really terrible happens.
Yeah, and look, small sample size. We'll know more. I won't say a lot more, but we'll know more after these next two games. Every game, we're going to learn something new and something different about this team. I think the main thing here is we still don't know. It's too early in the season. Maybe once we get to 10 games, definitely once we get to 20 games, we're still not really sure what the identity of this team is going to be. Are you going to be a team where is it going to be, hey, right now it's Sabonis kind of sets the tone with his scoring, and then DeMar DeRozan is going to get his, and De'Aaron Fox is kind of, he really is the best spacing option right now outside of Keegan Murray, and you have Kevin Huerter, but out of the big three, he's that spacing option as far as the 3-point threat, even though Sabonis has been shooting the three ball pretty well, and DeMar's been getting it up too. So what exactly is the identity of this team going to be? I was looking up some percentages yesterday, Chris. They lead the league in, I think, percentage of points in the mid-range. I think we talked about that a couple days ago. So are you going to be this mid-range team? Because I think if you're going to be the mid-range team, Chris, I would make the argument if you're going to focus more on mid-range, and I think this has always been a bit of the fear when you have other teams shooting the three ball at such a ridiculous clip. if you're going to be more of a mid-range led team, I think you have to be better defensively, especially on the perimeter, because if you're giving up threes and you're more of a mid-range focused team, that math ain't mathing. We don't know who this team is going to be yet, but just in the early goings here with their what are we calling them, the MIDI committee, that means that you have to step up on the defensive end and at least on the perimeter, so these other teams aren't just lining it up from three.
I mean, they have to step up on the defensive end regardless. Like it doesn't matter if they're hitting threes or not. I mean, they can't allow teams to drop 120 points on them on nights routinely, and so. I think their offense is just kind of a flow thing. Like, I really don't think that they are intentionally attacking mid-range. I don't think that they'll intentionally attack the rim. I think that they really do just kind of take what's in front of them and really try and read the defense and really lean on that. I mean, Mike Brown talked about how during the preseason he pretty much didn't call plays at all and just had them run their flow offense. I think a big part of that is just because he knows he can put 5 guys out there that can read defenses and essentially adjust and attack accordingly. And that's what it seemed like to me. I think you see them going to Domantas Sabonis in the post a lot more here recently. They still have moments where DeMar DeRozan will have, a 2 to 3 minute stretch where it feels like he's taking 4 or 5 turnarounds and getting to the line 3 to 4 times. I just think that they're really, really focused on getting the best shot available. And if it's a mid-range shot, take it. We have players who can. If it's a 3, you better not hesitate. And at the rim, that really is the spot where I think they need to improve the most. But I feel like this team is, like you said, still figuring out their identity. But I think that they know that part of their identity is just they have bucket getters, and not anybody can have 5 defenders out there at any given time that can stop all 5 of them.
Yeah, and the way that Kevin Huerter has been shooting the basketball too, that can't be talked about enough. You still have a Malik Monk who is trying to find his footing. He started out pretty hot and has kind of cooled off since. So yeah, it'll be something that is a kind of a gradual process. But again, that's why the Kings are a bit lucky, if you want to call it that, to get games like this where you have the Hawks on a Friday and the Hawks are a complete mess, and we have their injury report. There are going to be a good amount of dudes missing tonight, and you have an opportunity against a Raptors team that might be the worst. I mean, they could be the worst team in the league. If not, they're definitely bottom 5. And you get the Raptors a couple times here, and a Miami Heat team who, look, the names are swirling. The Jimmy Butler stuff that hasn't gone away. You talk about identity, Chris. The Miami Heat are really trying to figure out. Who are you going to – are you a Tyler Hero or Bam Adebayo? What is your plan here as the dust settles with Jimmy Butler and figuring out who they're going to be? So this is a perfect opportunity. Now, you want the growing pains to come with W's, but this is a perfect opportunity to have those growing pains, go through those growing pains, and then come out on the other end feeling as if, okay, now when it's time to face I was going to say Nuggets of the world. We don't know how good the Nuggets are going to be, but when it's time to face the Thunder of the world, when it's time to face teams like that, you feel prepared. And you can even throw the Mavs in that conversation, even though they lost to the Rockets, the Suns, teams like that. When you're facing the upper echelon of the West, now you feel like, all right, we know who we are. So they do get a bit of a break here.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have a little bit of a easier break in the schedule here, but it does get intense pretty quickly, and we'll see. I mean, I think with how Phoenix has looked up and down throughout the season, last night they looked like world beaters. They hit 15 shots in a row, but they also kind of struggled against the Lakers, and not that the Kings didn't either, but I think that there's still a really good opportunity in front of them to post some really impressive wins and, also stack some easy wins too. But they have 2 games against the Suns next week, which is a great opportunity. And then you really start to get into some of the tougher Western Conference teams. And we'll see. I mean, I think they've played really well so far. And granted, the last 2 games have definitely been a lot better than the first 2. But I feel like even in those 2 losses, you saw some signs that they were competing in those games. It's not like they got blown out by any stretch by Minnesota and LA. And you can argue without, a couple minutes of some bad lapses, the Kings are, and it's definitely not how it works, but the Kings could be 4-0 if they just kind of locked up for a couple extra minutes in both of those games. And, I think that those are that would be 4 really impressive wins on the season. And I think we would be feeling like this team is running away with things.
People were asking yesterday, how did the Dodgers, Yankees, viewership look compared to years past, and we said we're not sure yet, but it probably destroyed last season. And we were right. We have those numbers for you on the other side. Then 11 o'clock, what everybody wants to talk about, the Athletic article that is setting the Kings world on fire. Who is going where, when? Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
A handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10, 5, touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sacktown Sports.
Your MasterChef dreams. Will you find a professional on Angie to tackle your dream kitchen remodel? Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well.
Ready to pre-game your next big arena event? Head to Beach Hut Deli, a Sacramento tradition for over 40 years, where aloha is served daily. Located just steps away from the arena, whether it's game day or concert night, it's the perfect spot to gather with friends and enjoy amazing sandwiches. Are you planning a bigger get-together? Beach Hut Deli offers endless catering options to bring those delicious flavors to your next party or event. Beach Hut Deli. Good vibes, great food, and epic times await.
Yeah. Kill Switch Engage. Live in concert. Saturday, March 15th at Hard Rock Live, Sacramento. With special guests, Kubla Khan TX, Fit for a King, and Frozen Soul. Kill Switch Engage. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. Kill Switch Engage. Live.
Carmichael Dave with a simple question. What are you thankful for this year? So many things to consider, but one thing we can all agree on is a well-running vehicle to get you where you need to go each and every day. Jiffy Lube would like to say thank you to all their customers this November. Whether a weekend road trip to Lake Tahoe or your daily commute to work, Jiffy Lube has you covered. Serving the greater Sacramento area since 1984. Visit jiffylube.com today to find a location near you, generous oil change coupons, and more. Happy Thanksgiving and holiday driving from Jiffy Lube.
Coach Doug Christie here for your truck headquarters, Folsom Lake Ford. Shop all your favorite models on sale now, like America's best-selling F-Series. Check out a huge selection of Mavericks, F-150s, and Super Duty trucks, or tech-filled SUVs like Explorers and Expeditions. Plus a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. All in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall. Right now, buy any new Ford with zero down on approval of credit. Save big with low interest finance rates. And Folsom Lake Ford always pays top dollar for your trade. Hurry to Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, a 6-time Triple Crown winner for sales and service excellence. That's why they are my trusted dealer, and they should be yours too. For 35 years and counting, come down and take a test drive today. Tell them Coach Doug Christie sent you, or shop online at FolsomLakeFord.com.
Facts are facts, and the facts show that for eliminating hip, knee, back, leg, and foot pain, it's the Good Feet personalized arch support system, clinically proven to provide significant pain relief in only 4 weeks. Good Feet arch supports are designed to help put your feet and whole body back in pain-relieved proper alignment. Good Feet arch supports are HSA and FSA eligible. Book your free fitting at Good Feet in Sacramento, Roseville, and Vacaville.
Sacktown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
Esteban asking, dang, we can't get Giannis for cash considerations? No, you cannot. No, you cannot. But the trade generator is already cooking up. I haven't seen anything with the Kings, but there's a Warriors trade going around that is pretty hilarious because I just don't know how you win to your point, Chris, is just kind of unheard of what it's going to take, which leads us back to a conversation to where he probably doesn't get moved. He probably does not get moved, but something has to happen, because we do know that Giannis, 30 years old here, and I'm just double checking his contract situation. Yeah, he's not an unrestricted free agent until after the 2027-2028 season. He got a player option. So after 2026, 2027, he could opt out, but that's still 2-3 years from now. So they got to figure out what's going on in Milwaukee, and that's all coming up in 15 minutes. But we did want to go over the World Series as the baseball guy here at the station. I'd say, I wouldn't say at the station, but we got Whitey, we got Jason Ross, we got Frankie, we got some guys that, those guys are Yankee fans besides Whitey, but we got some guys that are big into baseball here and trying to save baseball. So we have these numbers. Game 5 of Dodgers-Yankees averaged 18.6 million viewers across Fox. The 2024 World Series averaged 15.8 million viewers, up 74% from last season. Chris, that's Caitlin Clark numbers. Those are Caitlin Clark numbers, the most since 2017. Did you feel like you were more connected to this World Series, Chris? Obviously, your boys with Frankie and Jason Ross, and they're Yankee fans. So I know that there was that part of it, but maybe that's also part of it. Everybody has a friend that's a Yankee fan. Everybody has a friend that's a Dodger fan. So maybe that's part of it as well. Did it feel like this World Series hit harder than basically any World Series since 2017? And I'm assuming the Astros were involved. I'm trying to think.
It was Astros Dodgers. I'm looking at it
okay,
now. So it's the Dodgers involved still.
That's the trash can. That's the trash can series.
Sure is.
There you go.
Yep,
so
sure is.
There you go. Dodgers were involved as well. So did it feel like this hit the most since 2017?
I guess so. Yeah, 100% it did. I mean, you get Yankees and Dodgers, and there's just a ton of excitement and intrigue and just things like that. Obviously, like, you're going to get tons of storylines. You're going to get tons of casual viewers who are just looking for the spectacle of it and things like that. But it felt like, especially last year or the past couple years, you get the Rangers, Diamondbacks last year, like, obviously much bigger than that. The post bubble or the post 2020 pandemic where the Dodgers win, like, it hasn't really felt like any of those have really hit. And obviously the 2020 season was just a super strange one as well. I guess so. I can't think of another World Series that would have hit this same level. I mean, you get the two biggest brands in baseball, arguably, and put them in the same series. I mean, you're going to get absolute fireworks from the viewers.
How many? Obviously, you named the Dodgers, and how many World Series winners do you think you can name since 2020?
One, maybe two.
And I know, I'm pretty sure you know what the one is.
Well, the Dodgers are 2020.
But the other one is
pretty.
last
year was the Rangers.
Oh, there you go. Then you get another one. Then you got another
Dodgers
one.
this year.
No, but
the Astros.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
the one.
Yeah,
the ones that just are kind of super random.
The Braves got one with Freddie.
There
Freeman,
you go.
Right? Yeah.
You're actually you're just missing. You're missing one.
No idea.
It's because it was super random. But actually, you're missing two.
No idea.
And they're both pretty random. Nobody cared about this.
This is post 2020?
No.
Oh, okay.
This is 2017. You're missing 2017.
Oh, okay. Well, the Nationals, they won with Soto.
There you go. That was 2019. You're missing 2018 and you just got 2019. 2018.
That was not the Astros. No, the Astros were 2017.
No, but they were connected to some weird cheatery too.
The Sox.
There you go.
Wow,
you got it.
They really?
You got it.
Was that Mookie?
That was Mookie.
Yeah,
that was
okay.
Mookie.
Yeah,
Mookie on the way out.
His last season.
Mookie on the way out. 2018 Red Sox. 2019 the most random championship ever with the Washington Nationals.
Wow, I'm shocked I did that.
Don't sell yourself short. 2020, the Dodgers beat the Red. And here, I think what's important is these matchups, right? 2017.
Yeah, go through them.
Astros, Dodgers.
Huge.
Surprising. Yeah. I'm kind of surprised this one didn't This one didn't beat Astros Dodgers. I think people didn't just hate the Astros.
Yeah.
Red Sox Dodgers, that's pretty darn big for 2018.
Pretty big.
2019 Nationals Astros, I
think the problem is too with those are all a lot of sameness at the time too, where it's like, yes, the Dodgers are great, they're paying everybody, and the Astros are running through everybody.
Right.
So it felt a little Warriors Cavs-ish.
Dodgers 2020 Dodgers Rays, everybody wanted the Rays. That was when Blake Snell got pulled. 2021 Braves Astros, that's kind of a nothing burger. I mean, I love Chipper Jones just like the rest of them. 2022 Astros Phillies, at that point it's just a lot of Astros at that, to go on. And then last season Rangers Diamondbacks, which is by far the worst.
Yeah.
By far the worst combo. So yeah, I mean, look, I think Dodgers Yankees is there, you can't think of a better matchup. Or, I don't know. I mean, looking back on it, I am curious how Yankees Mets would have done. But with the star power that the Dodgers have, I do think it would have been close, but 74%, I think you're only getting that with Dodgers Yankees. Colin Cowherd had this to say, though. He has always been a fan of the juggernauts, and he's always been a fan of the dynasties. And he's thinking that the Dodgers should, at this point, Chris, it's not doubling down. It would be quadrupling down on being the evil empire and adding to that roster once again. Here it is.
The best thing that could happen to Major League Baseball, dead serious here, would be for the Dodgers to outbid everybody and the Dodgers to add him to Ohtani, Freeman, Betts, Kershaw, Soto. Major League Baseball has not had a dynasty since like the early 2000s. And by the way, go look at the NBA. Last time they got great ratings. MJ's Bulls, Kobe Shaq, Steph's Warriors. I think the Dodgers should make a run. This year, the Dodgers led baseball in home attendance, and they also led it in road attendance. They're interesting. It's a star-studded machine. Add another star. We're all distracted. You have to create urgency. And I think 5 former MVPs on a team would create special and unique. Create an experience you can't get anywhere else. I think Major League Baseball needs a dynasty, and nobody has the wherewithal and the passion and the attendance and the inertia and the momentum and already a launching pad of a franchise like the Dodgers.
I am really torn on that.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. It's really tough because on one hand I say, that is true. I mean, that's how all sports leagues kind of end up growing is you get Magic versus Larry and it's just those two. And, you get the 90s Yankees and things like that, which take that team, that organization, and to an extent the league, like it definitely puts them at the forefront. But on the other hand, it feels like maybe that could be a previous, generational type thing where I kind of don't know if this generation of sports fans wants to see dynasties. It feels like, in my opinion, like when it's the sameness every single, we just did it with the Astros. Like people get tired, people get sick, you end up, and like before you would say, oh, but all bad publicity is all good publicity. And so if you hate the Dodgers, it still means you're going to watch the Dodgers. And I just don't know if that's true anymore with the amount of stuff that we can watch. I feel like you get tired of something, and instead of watching the Dodgers win the 4th straight World Series, you're just not going to tune in, I feel like.
Yeah, I think the biggest...
But a casual at least wouldn't.
I know Ohtani is adding a lot of juice. I think the biggest issue here, as I joked yesterday about the Dodgers spending so much money over the last 2 decades to finally get, because I'm not counting Mickey Mouse in 2020, to finally get a championship since the 80s. I think the issue here is that the Dodgers have already been around for so long. This is a different iteration of the Dodgers with Ohtani, but the Dodgers fatigue is kind of already there because they've been around, and a lot of us just feel like finally you got one. You've been just annoying around here the whole time. So you add somebody like Juan Soto. The hate watching thing is tough because if the hate watching was true, the numbers with the Astros would be better because everybody hated the Astros and they were always in the mix. So I think Colin is not completely wrong. I think there's some intrigue. To me, it more so feels like the end of Warriors Cavs, where it was just all right,
and that didn't get fun at the end.
No,
those
numbers
the
did
first
not
one
hit.
was great. But
Exactly.
the second one wasn't.
The first three were great. Once you get to the fourth, it's all right. What are we doing here? And they had KD.
It's going to be 4 games, or is it going to be 5 games?
Exactly. And it's just LeBron. LeBron would be whatever American League team managed to get there.
Right.
I guess if the Yankees had a counterpunch.
Not if they lose Soto.
and they won't. And I'm just trying to think who else is available. Yeah. And I don't even think, let's say the Mets, who have the Mets, the Phillies, they would all be losing to the Dodgers because they're all in the National League. So if you look at the American, if you look at the American League, I don't know who's the other team besides the Yankees that could say, fine, we're going to go toe to toe with you money wise. I'd have to take a look at the free agents, but they ain't Soto.
Yeah.
So I don't think that I think that he was on to something for the beginning. The problem is the Dodgers have already been around for so long.
Right.
And it just feels like you're just beating down on these teams that just the wealthy just beating down on these teams who now I do think let's talk about a salary floor with Major League Baseball so that you have to be able to compete, because the problem isn't necessarily the Dodgers. The problem is these teams that are still making money off TV deals, so they don't feel a need to spend money to be competitive, and they can luck in. That's a cool thing about baseball. You can luck in. I mean, there are teams that just luck into championships. So there's that as well. I'm not fully against what Colin is saying as a Giants fan, Dodger hater. I hope it doesn't happen. As a baseball fan, I see the vision. I'm just not sure if it's just as simple as, everybody loves to even hate on dynasties because the Dodgers have kind of already been a dynasty this whole time. Yeah. They just finally got over the hump. So I'd love to watch them choke, but I don't even know. I'd love to watch them choke. I don't know if there would be up 74% viewership to watch them choke every single season, and then they don't, and now you're just annoyed. Okay. We talk some baseball, and now it's time. Sam Amick, John Hollinger setting the world on fire as we discuss a article that dropped a little bit before the show came out. Trade names to watch, and you'll never guess which Sacramento King is among them. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Subscribe to Sacktown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus view archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sacktown Sports.
At Elk Grove Honda, not only do we have a great selection of pre-owned certified cars at very fair prices, but every one of our pre-owned automobiles are treated with kid gloves with a 182-point inspection that covers everything from unibody to tires to brakes and engine filters. Then our certified cars receive a mobile oil change and fresh fill-up with full synthetic mobile oil. We know you have lots of choices of where to purchase your next car. Come to Elk Grove Honda, home of the 182-point inspection and mobile oil change. We're in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 at Elk Grove Boulevard.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you target the right audience, build your leads, and crush your quota. Take your business to the next level. Our digital marketing strategies help grow awareness of your product or service, all while building trust in your business. Our approach involves leveraging multiple tools and strategies to deliver exceptional results that are customized to your unique business needs. Don't wait to run out of sales leads. Keep your business growing. Get started with aimyourdigital.com today.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Kyle Draper. Equip your staff with top-notch uniforms, professionally cleaned and delivered weekly to your workplace by Alsco Uniforms, proud sponsors of the Sacramento Kings Mop Crew. Our services include uniforms, towels, floor mats, mops, first aid supplies, and restroom essentials to uphold cleanliness and safety standards in your business. Discover why it pays to keep clean with Alsco Uniforms. Visit alsco.com to learn more. Again, visit alsco.com.
The shot clock is ticking, and your home team is driving up the court. But don't miss your chance to score big at Northern California's #1 Honda dealer, Stockton Honda. Save on a new Accord, HR-V, Ridgeline, or the all-new Prologue before the buzzer sounds on year-end deals. Don't get benched by high prices. Slam dunk your savings today.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
#1 claims based on 2023
total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company's L1 report.
The presidential general election is November 5th. All registered voters will receive their ballot in the mail. Check to make sure you're registered correctly at elections.saccounty.gov or call toll-free 800-762-8019.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140. Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Don't forget, Mark Haynes of the Sacramento Observer joins us in an hour at noon. We have our giveaway at 1 p.m., but before that at 12:30, Jesse Sapolo, four-time Super Bowl champion, two-time Pro Bowler for the San Francisco 49ers, joins us at 12:30, and then at 1 o'clock, we will give away these UC Davis football tickets, family 4-pack, and a parking pass. Let's see here. Let me fire it up for you in case you're curious. It will be, Chris, high of 65 tomorrow. So you're going to want to bundle up if you win those tickets, but it's going to be a great time out there. November football, that's real football right there. We give away those tickets at 1 p.m. Okay, well, this is the article being heard around the world right now, and we will go over the names, and we will go over specifically the Sacramento King name and some of the other names as well, because I do think in a way they are all connected, whether it be the Western Conference or rivalries and things like that. Okay, Chris, this is from Sam Amick and John Hollinger of The Athletic. This came out today to start off your November in an interesting way. The article is titled Jonathan Kuminga, Austin Reeves, and 4 more names to watch as NBA trade market takes shape. So we will say the other names, and then we will get into the Kings name. Jonathan Kuminga of the Warriors, kind of a surprise there, but not really if you've been following them. Jonathan Kuminga did not agree on an extension when all the other guys from his draft class were taking the extensions. They didn't want to give Kuminga the max like a Franz Wagner, and Kuminga said, well, I think I'm worth more. And shortly after, he is now on the bench. He's still getting decent amount of playing time, but that's because Andrew Wiggins been out. Steph Curry's been out. Austin Reeves on the Lakers, who was once a guy. These are 2 guys, Chris, just off the top, and you're going to see a theme here. These are 2 guys that were once called untouchable. So that's the second name. Jalen Green on the Rockets. All right. Another guy who, with the Rockets, there was talk about the extension. I think he got the extension, but what's gonna happen there with that team? Walker Kessler of the Jazz. We know how they get down out there in Utah and how much they're gonna want from him, but Walker Kessler's name is on there. Benedict Mathurin on the Pacers, another name, and last but not least, Keegan Murray of the Kings finds his way onto this list. I will give you the breakdown right here from the guys. Here it is. Chris has his contract numbers: $8.8 million this season, extension eligible this summer, $11.1 million next season, restricted free agent in summer 2026 if no extension is signed. Now, again, Sam Amick is a guy, if you listen to the morning show, he is on every week on the morning show. Sam Amick is plugged in, like Chris said. This isn't sourced or anything like that. This is just something that is in the conversation. So we're not saying it's going to happen. All we're saying is this isn't some, I'm not going to talk down on any other media outlet, but Sam Amick is a guy that we have on our airwaves. So that's why we are entertaining this right here. This is what Sam and John have to say. Here's the Kings' dilemma. They're legitimately all in on Murray, which makes it quite challenging to be all in on the prospect of adding another star from elsewhere. That was the case when they pursued Markkanen before the draft in June, just as it was in similar scenarios for other players before then. But Murray is the only young player in the Kings employ who can change the course of a trade conversation, meaning he will likely be requested every time they are discussing the prospect of landing a player of any repute. As is the case with every other player on this list, the truth is that this season could change the internal calculus regarding their uncertain future. If Murray is a pivotal part of another Kings playoff run, or maybe even a first-round victory, that would be the organization's first since 2004, then one would think the extension is forthcoming. But if Murray struggles to find his place in the crowded Sacramento offense, and if the Kings fail to take the step forward that is so crucial to their plans in the process, then the landscape could change. 4 games in, Murray has managed to produce while sharing the load with heavy usage players such as De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, DeRozan, and even Malik Monk. He's averaging 14.3 points on just 41.2% shooting and 7 rebounds for the Kings, and has the team's best plus-minus mark at this early juncture. Chris Watkins, your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely a possibility. Again, if the Kings are going to look to make a big move at some point here and look to maybe bring in, a more solidified, a little bit more in his prime age of his career player, then yeah, I definitely think, especially if we're talking about some of the, a top 50 player in the NBA or top 75 player, more than likely that conversation has to start with Keegan Murray from the other side of things. Now, of course, the Kings are going to probably try and do everything they can in their plans to keep Keegan. Like the first sentence even says, like they're legitimately all in on Keegan Murray. It's not that they are actively shopping him, but they understand if they want to dip their toe into making an improvement on the roster, they have to be willing to consider something like it. And so it makes sense to me that he is a name that has to be included, and I guess is by the letter of the law maybe on the trade block. But I just don't think that the Kings would do it unless they are absolutely blown away by a deal. But in the same breath, like this is the same organization, I think people forget a lot of the time, that traded Tyrese Halliburton, and I don't want to say didn't think twice about it, but we're very unapologetic and really have continued to be adamant that they would do that trade again. And so, as much as Kings fans, myself included, like the thought of Keegan Murray staying in Sacramento and continuing to develop, we do have to keep in mind that if this team, we can't say, oh, this team isn't good enough, they need to take a leap, or they need to, what's the point in just making the playoffs, like actually be a contender, and then, kind of look at things like this and say, well, that's a bit too far. I don't know about trading Keegan Murray. You can't have both. You can't have everything. If you really want to possibly leapfrog some steps of development, then yeah, you have to seriously consider trading Keegan Murray. I just don't think it's something that right here, right now, especially like they say at the last sentence there, or the last paragraph of that article, he's playing well. The team is playing relatively well. I don't think it's a conversation right now, but absolutely, if they go on a stretch of bad play, 100%. I don't even think it's just Keegan. I think that there's a lot of people who might be on the table.
Yeah, and as we look at I think the first question would be, well, who are we talking about dealing him for? We know the marketing situation that's cooked now. Yeah. They made sure of that, and that's fine. The Jazz can figure it all out there. I don't think you're not talking about these are the guys that would be moved for the big piece. Then the question becomes, well, who are the big pieces? We just discussed earlier about the Giannis situation. The Bucks are kind of a mess right now. It's still early on, and I know Doc Rivers said, well, once we get rolling, we're going to get rolling. I think that was in his pregame presser before they did lose to the Grizzlies. But if something goes squirrely there with the Bucks, again, that price tag, like you said, Keegan starts the bidding. Keegan starts the conversation. He's definitely not the end-all, be-all. So I'm looking around, Chris, at just some of the names, and I saw something come through with the Nuggets and who they were not willing to move, right, to get Paul George. This came out from Ramona Shelburne. The Nuggets reportedly refused to include the names of Christian Bond, Julian Strother, and Peyton Watson in talks for Paul George. That was from Ramona Shelburne. So people don't want to move on these things. And no, the Nuggets, they don't look great right now, but also Paul George ain't playing. Right. So I don't even know, you know what I mean, if that's a good or bad decision on both ends. I'm seeing stuff here, Chris. You're going to love this. As Jonathan Kuminga was brought up, a lot of people are talking about Jonathan Kuminga for Jimmy Butler and the Warriors being in that position, because the Warriors, they are in last dance mode. Yes. The Kings are not in last dance mode, and I think that's something to consider. This is what my guy from the Warriors flagship, Evan Giddings, he just cooked this up for one of their shows. Warriors get Giannis Antetokounmpo. Bucks get this is just now we can do this in the King space, but just to let y'all know, like, what is being discussed. Warriors get Giannis Antetokounmpo. Bucks get Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, Brandon Pajemski, DeAnthony Melton, and 4 unprotected first-round picks.
Yeah.
That's the value here.
Yes.
That's insane.
That is all of your assets. Again, all of your assets.
That's your team. So what's the stuff?
It's Steph and Draymond. That's all you need. I mean, that's really all you need.
Steph, Draymond, Giannis, and Buddy Hield.
TJD and Buddy Hield. Yeah.
Light it. So a version of that for the King. Again.
No, you can't do it.
You can't.
It's Keegan Murray, Devin Carter, Keon Ellis.
Kevin Huerter.
I'm sorry, I meant Devin Carter, Keegan Murray, Keon Ellis, and then all of your picks. Like, I think it's all of your young assets and picks. And I don't even think that works because, yeah, I mean, especially for a guy like Giannis is making $50-60 million per year. You gotta try and match that salary, and all of your young players aren't reaching that. That's the benefit for the Warriors of having a guy like Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins is making way more than he should make, but that's good for trade because obviously it helps you reach that Giannis figure a little bit easier. Plus, Wiggins is a pretty solid piece. It's not like it's just a big salary or something like that. You could realistically convince yourself, hey, we're going to throw out a team, and at least it's not a bunch of you're not looking like the Blazers out there and just throwing a bunch of 23-year-olds out there.
Yeah, this is from the article as well. One name to monitor as they talk about the Jonathan Kuminga situation. One name to monitor is Jimmy Butler, the 35-year-old Miami Heat star who league sources say drew interest from the Warriors during the offseason and who did not come to terms to an extension. He'll be an unrestricted free agent next summer. And I am curious about the Austin Reeves conversation as well and who they might be interested in. It's just, again, these teams are playing well. So who are you going to get to be better? That's the conversation. That's a conversation for all of this stuff. 916 says, wouldn't Fox make more sense? Seems like his contract situation, and if, like you said, the Kings were struggling, he could reset this franchise. He can put the Kings in a situation similar to Oklahoma City, possibly. I think numbers wise, you're probably right, 916, and then it becomes, well, where do we go? Yeah, where do we go from there? I mean, you don't have a point guard.
Yeah,
you're not gonna rock. I mean, I think Devin Carter is gonna be pretty darn good, but that's not the type of point guard that's, I think, gonna lead your franchise per se.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, yeah, that's a pretty drastic move. Trading De'Aaron at this point would be, again, a franchise reset. You have DeMar, who's 35. And then you have Sabonis, who's getting close to entering his 30s here. If you trade De'Aaron Fox for just a bunch of draft picks, the assumption, I mean, I would probably be on here the next day saying, well, I would assume that the Kings are now going to cash in those picks and try and go get somebody else, just because that wouldn't really make sense, even if things don't go well this year. And I know De'Aaron's contract situation is a bit up in the air, but just from an organizational standpoint, I don't think it would make sense to trade De'Aaron just for the assets of it. And then what is the team that you're fielding out then? Unless you're just punting the remainder of that season, and then again, you're really going to address it in the offseason. But that just to me feels like a real panic button type of move. Not saying it's not going to happen. I think that would be like a very 1% universe type thing.
Yeah, really the beginning of this article should say way too early trade conversations, but here we are discussing it because our guy Keegan Murray ended up on the list. Let's take a trip around the NBA, but first we talk about the biggest surprises of the season so far for the Sacramento Kings. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sacktown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco!
It's all on his shoulders. Fox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sacktown Sports and SacktownSports.com.
Sacramento State football this Saturday at 6 versus Portland State. Get your tickets at HornetSports.com.
I'm Brian Tedesco, CEO of Blaupunkt Americas, the pioneers of the car stereo. Today, we're not just about sound systems. We are revolutionizing the e-bike scene with Blue Dot Bike. Thanks to AmericanEagle.com, our online presence now features a dynamic e-commerce website that showcases the quality and affordability of our foldable e-bikes. And our collegiate e-bikes, just perfect for the college fanatic. These e-bikes offer a new way to experience freedom on two wheels, no matter your age. When we needed a top-notch website to match our cutting-edge e-bikes, we turned to AmericanEagle.com. They made the impossible seem easy, tackling digital challenges like pros. Check out the Blue Dot Bike website to see AmericanEagle.com's amazing work in action. Need the best in website and digital marketing solutions? AmericanEagle.com is your go-to. They've been a game changer for us, and they can be for you too. Visit AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW-1. That's 877-WEB-NOW-1.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
Nine 916-339-1140 on this brisk and beautiful Friday. Let's open up the phone lines. What did you make of the Sam Amick article? Who would be a name that you'd be willing to move Keegan Murray for? Is it Giannis and half the team? Is it Jimmy Butler? Oh my goodness, please. Not Jimmy Butler. But is it Jimmy Butler for you? Who is that name that makes you say, Chris Allen, we could do that. We could do that. All right. As we continue the conversation from one athletic article to another, Anthony Slater is discussing some of the surprises of the season so far, Chris, and specifically talking about the shooting position. What you got for us?
Yeah, Anthony Slater was part of this big athletic article in which they go through early season NBA surprises for every single team in the league, some other ones across the Pacific Division for what it's worth. Someone I'm going to talk about a little bit later, Ryan Dunn for the Phoenix Suns. For the Los Angeles Lakers, their biggest surprise, Anthony Davis playing his best basketball of the season. For the Clippers, it's been Terrence Mann's struggles. And, of course, for the Golden State Warriors, we know one Buddy Hield has been their biggest surprise. Anthony Slater writes for the Sacramento Kings portion. And by the way, you can check Anthony Slater out on the Drive Guys all season long. He will be appearing on their show, I believe, once a week.
Great get.
So, yeah, absolutely great get for them. Yeah, nothing else there. Shooting guard position is what Anthony Slater writes for the Sacramento Kings. He writes, after the labrum surgery, there were no guarantees Kevin Huerter would be ready for the start of the regular season, but he was cleared right before opening night, and Mike Brown immediately plugged him back into the starting shooting guard role that many believed Keon Ellis had ripped away from him permanently. The Kings explored Huerter's trade market this summer, but didn't find an appealing enough offer. Huerter's value plummeted during a career worst performance last season, but he had a successful track record before that, and he's looking like his old self, shooting and moving in the early going. That's a large development, lengthening Sacramento's rotation by moving Ellis into a bench role. Again, written by a friend of the show, friend of the station, one Anthony Slater. So there you go. The Kings' biggest surprise this season, the shooting guard position, and really I'm more reading from it, the production of Kevin Huerter has been the biggest surprise so far from the Kings this season, and I would definitely partially agree with that for sure. I think that there's some other things that have been really surprising, but it should definitely not be understated. The other day I kind of went on a little Malik Monk rant about how, it's just not a given that, coming back from injury and he picked back up right where he left off. Well, Kevin Huerter, he didn't pick up right where he left off. He really completely is flipped from last season, and he's looked great so far through the beginning of the season, so much so that we don't have people texting and calling and asking, why can't we get Keon Ellis in the starting lineup? Somebody might have asked the other day, why can't we get Malik Monk in the starting lineup?
Right.
But I think that people have seen so far this season the justification of Mike Brown's decision to put Kevin Huerter in the lineup, at least for these games. It has not looked like it has been what's wrong with the Sacramento Kings. Kevin, so far this season, for what it's worth, 55.9% from the field, back to 41% from three on 6 attempts. And I think that's the big thing for Kev, obviously, is him not knocking down those perimeter shots. For what it's worth, he's shooting 90%. Yes, 90% from 2 this season, which at the moment leads the NBA. So not only is Kevin knocking down his threes at a level at which we've come accustomed to see, for what it's worth, also the most makes on the team Kevin Huerter has so far. But he's also really not forgetting about 2-point range. He's had a couple floaters. He's had a couple finishes at the rim that have been pretty tough. I've just really liked what I've seen from Kevin Huerter, and I had a lot of concerns. Obviously, everybody did, but I thought there was going to be a bit of a psychological barrier with Kevin of just, hey, I got hurt on such a routine play. Like, I can't get it out of my head. And that has not been the case. Kevin Huerter has just looked like the Kevin Huerter that I think we saw a couple years ago. 12 points per game, 3 rebounds, a steal, and a block per game for Kevin through 4.
Yeah, definitely watching it live too, Chris, and the couple games that we've been to, the couple home games. There was a drive that he had, and I know exactly what you're talking about, where you thought literally that first drive that he had to start the season, he passed that out, and I think that's exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Then shortly after that, later in that game, I believe he took it to the cup, and he decided, hey, I'm going to do this. The deflection thing for me, and I know I've kind of joked about the rebounds and deflections, but again, when you see something live, there was a play where the other team was about to get onto a fast break, and literally Kevin Huerter, the deflection stopped the whole thing. It stopped the whole momentum of that run, and they didn't end up scoring on that possession. So it really is the little things that when you do look at the box score, I'm going to sound, super old school, all the stuff that doesn't show up in the box score, but he's doing that, and he's doing things that are also in the box score. Yeah. And a lot of people wanted to jump on him on that Laker game when he had that ridiculous plus minus or something like that. But we know those things can be game to game, and you kind of debunked that, which I thought was really insightful on how it's just, okay, well, he was on the court doesn't necessarily mean that they lost because of Kevin Huerter. Right. They lost because they didn't have a body to stop LeBron James. That's why they lost. So, these things can get misconstrued, but I do feel like if we're talking in the PR point of view or the PR realm, I think that Kevin Huerter's narrative is starting to change, and I think it's really good to see. I'll be the first one. I'm not going to sit here and act like I haven't been hard on Kevin Huerter, because I have. And the reality of the situation is he needs to be good in order for this Kings team to get where they need to be. And he played like a dog these last couple of games. And tonight, Chris, Kayvon, he goes back to hot Atlanta.
That's right.
Are we thinking, look, he got rid of the headband? Are we thinking, hey, I'm new, I'm looking good, I'm feeling good? Are we thinking he's going to cook tonight? I know I won't be here.
30.
I won't be here for prop talk, but I think you can lock me in demon time on that Kayvon, on that Kevin Huerter. So yeah, it is a good situation to be in, and now we see Keon Ellis starting to return back to, okay, coach, I'm just going to be that dog defensively when you need me. We need his offense to come back around, but it will. And this thing is starting to round out, Chris. It's only been 4 games, feels longer than that, but it's starting to round out.
Yeah, and another surprise on here I think Kings fans would like to see from the Brooklyn Nets write-up. Jordy Fernandez has been their biggest surprise. The write-up is the Nets coach got his big break to take over a team widely earmarked as one of the worst record in the NBA, but he has Brooklyn playing on a string and looking like a team fighting for a playoff spot. In the Nets' last 3 games, they've beaten Milwaukee, Memphis, and bookended an overtime loss to Denver. Dennis Schroeder and Cam Thomas are combining for 52 points per game, and Fernandez is making small ball lineups work while Nick Claxton is on a minutes restriction. The Nets really have been one of the most pleasant surprises of the early season. So Jordy's got those boys playing out there. Something I noticed the other day, man. Yeah, they are just playing really, really hard for him. And they've surprised a couple teams so far in this early season. They're sitting right outside for way too early play-in talk, but they're sitting right outside the play-in spot. They have 2 wins. It's against Milwaukee and Memphis. And then, like they said there, had a really hard-fought game against the Denver Nuggets. We're actually up for a big portion of that game and then kind of gave it up late. I've just been incredibly impressed with how Jordy has that team playing so well already, and they have no good players.
Well, I literally was gonna say I haven't been able to catch any Nets
There's
games.
nothing to watch.
What about what's Ben Simmons doing?
He's been fine, especially for Ben Simmons terms. A lot of triple singles where it's like 8 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists kind of thing. So it's a step in the right direction, but it has not been the Ben Simmons that I think everyone wants to see. But it's definitely a step towards maybe Ben Simmons. I don't know if he's tradable because of his contract, but if they want to buy him out, I think Ben Simmons might end up on a pretty decent team, and they might kick the tires on him at some point if he continues.
Yeah, the biggest thing is, hey, did you get to the trade deadline healthy?
Right.
Can you prove that you
too.
can play basketball for a decent amount of time the way you are so well compensated?
He's averaging 5, 5, and 5. 5.8 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 5 assists.
Mini Draymond.
And 3.5 turnovers.
That's what he
and
is.
4.8 fouls. So he's almost averaging a 5 for 5, which is really, really incredible.
Yeah,
really
what a bizarre player. All right, and we know Carmichael Dave still wants him on the Kings.
Oh,
we
yeah,
go around the NBA when we return. Stiles and Watkins, that's worth.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Hello, I'm Frank Cock with the Retirement Security Center for the weekly economic update. There's a mixed bag of financial data providing both tricks and treats to investors. Earnings for some large mega cap companies were spread reaching higher than estimated, and some showing some current and near-term weakness. Wall Street expected gross domestic product growth of an annualized rate of 3.1% in the third quarter. Investors were tricked with a lower than expected 2.8% rate of growth. October's ADP report provided a treat as private sector jobs creation jumped to the highest level in the past year. This stronger than expected labor market may still not be enough to keep the Federal Reserve from continuing the rate cutting cycle by reducing rates another 0.25% at their next meeting, according to Bank of America. All these treats may be leading to an overbought market that could be susceptible to a larger correction as soon as later this year or early 2025, according to advisory firm Janney Montgomery Scott. Next week's presidential election is still poised to provide a trick for some and a treat for others, with options traders expecting some outsized volatility up or down depending on the outcome. How might this affect you or your family? Please go to frankontheradio.com to schedule an appointment, watch videos, and receive market updates. I'm ready to help you start your journey so you can define your future.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Osaic FA Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Osaic FA is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Osaic FA.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check your sunroof is closed first before driving through the car wash.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, no. Wait, whoa.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Sounds like wipers. If your wipers are streaking, skipping, chattering, or even worse, loud, you need to visit AutoZone and get some fresh new blades. We've got basic wipers to get you back on the road, as well as premium blades from Bosch and Rain-X. So if you're hearing this, just head to your nearest AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit khtk.com.
At the law offices of Dale R. Gomes, we understand that when you're facing a crisis, you need more than just a lawyer. You need a team. Our dedicated attorneys work together, combining decades of experience to guide you through personal injury or criminal defense matters with care and expertise. We're committed to supporting you every step of the way, ensuring your voice is heard and your rights are protected. With offices in Sacramento and El Dorado County, reach out to the law offices of Dale R. Gomes today, 916-999-9033, or online at dalegomslaw.com.
What would it take for a plumbing company to earn your trust? Jerry and Kenny here from Bell Brothers. And let's face it, plumbing and service companies don't always have the best reputation.
So to earn your trust, the first thing they'd have to do is actually answer the phone when you call with a real live person. Then they'd have to send a plumber when you needed them, day or night, without charging extra for emergency services.
A trustworthy plumber would show up on time, wearing a clean uniform and name badge, and be able to show that they had passed a background check and drug test.
A plumber you could trust would give you a firm quote on the job before starting and clean up after they finish the job.
That's exactly the plumber you'll get when you call Bell Brothers, a plumber you can trust. Call Bell Brothers right now for all your plumbing needs. Our number is 916-444-1234, or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise guys, Bell Brothers.
Sacramento State football this Saturday at 6 versus Portland State. Get your tickets at hornetsports.com.
Sacktown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
I have 30 more minutes with you, and Chris, Nate, Mark Haynes going to take you up to 2 p.m., as well as Jesse Sapolo, 4-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time Pro Bowler, 13-year NFL veteran, all with your red and gold, the San Francisco 49ers. 1 o'clock, we'll be giving away UC Davis football tickets, family 4-pack. Chris, we're about to go around the NBA from the 510. This is Trey. If you told me I could get a big-time 4 like Marketing or Adebayo to play alongside Sabonis, I think I would be on board with a trade that involved Keegan. Well, thank you, Trey. We asked who would be a name. I think, Trey, the issue there, not so much Marketing, but Adebayo, we're worried about we're worried about spacing now, and I know that's been debunked a little bit, but DeRozan, I know De'Aaron can't shoot the 3-ball, but DeRozan, De'Aaron, Adebayo, and Sabonis, I'm not loving. Marketing, let's have a conversation, but Adebayo, I don't know, Chris, I'm not loving that spacing, but maybe you are.
No, it doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, you can't get rid of your best 3-point shooter or your highest, one of your highest volume 3-point shooters, and then replace him with Bam Adebayo, who looked like he could shoot during the Olympic window, but I actually don't think he's made a 3 so far. I think I looked at that the other day. He hasn't made a 3 so far.
He's taking
this
them
NBA
though.
season. So I think the Bam fascination has always been one for sure. I think it's honestly kind of gone the other way, where Miami fans have always been trying to bring De'Aaron Fox over there, trying to reunite the Kentucky connection. But yeah, I would love Bam as a player over here, but him playing next to Sabonis is tough. It's just really tough to try and figure out how those two are going to properly play off of each other when, frankly, they do, in my opinion, especially more so offensively, they do a lot of similar things and kind of occupy a lot of similar spaces. And then you throw DeMar in that too, and yeah, it's kind of a spacing nightmare. But you know, yeah, maybe if I'm not suggesting they do this, but I think that it's kind of a Bam or Sabonis thing if they are going to pursue that route.
Yeah, but keep the names coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep the names coming. The show is young. As we go around the NBA.
Ooh.
That was a good one, Nate. That was a good one.
I've been struggling on it lately.
I gotta say, Kyle had a good one on, what was that, Chris, Tuesday or Wednesday?
He should be your producer then. You take Kyle. Take Kyle. I'll go home.
Only for around the NBA. Only for these hits.
Yeah, let's make it as difficult as possible.
There you go. Around the NBA, Orlando Magic superstar Paolo Banchero has been diagnosed with a torn right oblique. Sounds painful.
Some Aaron
Chris.
Judge stuff.
Yeah, and is sidelined indefinitely, sources tell ESPN. He will be reevaluated in 4 to 6 weeks, and return to play will be based on how he responds to treatment. Chris, that does not sound good.
No, I mean, especially when the man had a 50 burger and then followed it up with another 30 piece. Like the Orlando Magic cannot have this right now, especially as they were really planning to launch this season. They really wanted to make their imprint in the Eastern Conference. Losing your best, I mean, he is their best player. Losing him for 4 to 6 weeks. That's a really big blow. I'm not going to say it's going to ruin their season at all. It's probably like a quarter of the season he's going to miss, though. Like that's pretty significant for a team that I think had real aspirations. Again, they could still make the Eastern Conference playoffs fairly easily, but sitting at 3-2 right now, you can miss Paolo for 4 to 6 weeks, and you better hope that you're 500 when he comes back.
Well, I think they're lucky. Because the East is kind of a mess right now.
Sure.
I mean, Bucks stink. The Sixers are hurt too, so that might be their saving grace, and you can maybe mess around with the 5 or 6 seed, but I think they had ideas of.
They've got we usually do this for football, but they have a tough schedule ahead of them too. Again, they're 3-2 right now. Without Paolo this next week, they play at Cleveland, at Dallas, at OKC, and then at Indiana, then play the Pelicans. So they might be really starting 3-6 or something like that. And good luck.
A lot of Wagners there. Yeah.
Can they get more Wagners?
Yes,
please?
I think there is one more
Please.
brother. I'm pretty sure there's one more brother. All right, let's continue with the injury updates. Another name that is all too familiar with injury, Zach LaVine, has indeed sprained his left AC joint in his shoulder, suffered partial dislocation. He's listed as questionable versus the Nets. Zach LaVine said he hopes to play Friday in Brooklyn because I tried to play through everything. That is a quote and close quote. Look, he's played.
I'm trying to get traded. I need to be valuable. That's why I want to play on Friday.
Yeah, he is stuck
Get
in
me
Chicago.
out.
Worst places to be stuck, though. Chicago's a great city.
Well, it's
but
starting to get cold.
Yeah, it is starting to get cold.
Real
I know
cold.
the summers in Chicago go crazy,
Wonderful.
but the winters in Chicago can be a bit rough. And I mean, it's tough, man. I know I'm not going to say I feel bad. He makes 40 whatever million a year, but it's tough. Really, it just seems like there's always something, right? There's these guys, because we really haven't done the conversation, Chris, about whether or not certain people are injury prone or not. Because I've kind of been a big believer in that. I think that is a thing. I think you can just be a body type that seems to get injured, because when it's different, it's different. Injury prone to me isn't, I guess it can be, but it's not. My knees are shot. I have bad knees. Injury prone to me is that it doesn't really matter what it is. 1 week it's your knee.
Sure.
The other week it's an AC joint. And so to me, that's kind of what he's getting close to that. And we saw Lonzo is out again. Guys like that where it's other stuff, that is where the injury prone conversation it does pick up for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to not say he's injury prone when he's like missed full seasons and it does seem like he's hurt every year. I think to me, it doesn't matter if it is your knees that are always injured or if it is everything random. To me, injury prone is just you can't find yourself off of the list, and it doesn't matter if it is your knees every time or if it's something new every time. Zach definitely fits into there's always something going on with him.
As an old coach once told me, Chris, you can't make the club in the tub.
That's right. Best ability,
availability. As we talk about someone else who's not available, New Orleans Pelicans say Herb Jones sustained a right shoulder strain and a small low-grade partial thickness.
That's crazy.
Thickness tear.
Partial thickness tear.
A small low-grade partial thickness tear. That happens to me from time to time when I eat too many crumble cookies in his rotator cuff. And his recovery time frame is approximately 2 to 4 weeks. Also with the Pelicans, can the Kings play the Pelicans now, by the way?
No,
CJ McCollum has been diagnosed with a right adductor strain and is expected to miss approximately 2 to 3 weeks. So it's literally just Zion and Brandon Ingram.
That's it.
And Jose Alvarado.
That is not the Pelican I would have expected to get a thickness tear of all the players.
Now that was a good one.
That's a good one, Nate.
Now that was a good one.
That's excellent.
The table.
There we go.
Thank you, Stephen A. Smith, who had the Rizzler on his show, the Stephen A. Smith
we're dedicating,
show.
as soon as you're gone, we're doing the last 2 hours.
Oh, darn. I'm so mad I'm going to miss that. Odds on the next...
We don't play the Pelicans until February, for what it's worth.
Of course.
Zion's got plenty of
February 8th, 12th, and 13th.
Full pounders to put down by then.
All right. Odds, guys, this is where we're at with the Bucks. There are odds on the next Bucks head coach if Doc Rivers is fired. Terry Stotts at plus 275. Monty Williams at plus 300. Mike D'Antoni at plus 500. Mark Jackson at plus 500. Frank Vogel at plus 900. Kenny Atkinson at plus 950, and Steve Nash at plus 1,500. Who would you put your bet on?
Well, for a second, I thought you were about to say Mike Brown, pull a greenie there, and say Mike Brown is going to the Bucks. If we recall last season.
Yes,
that was very silly.
So weird. I guess Terry Stotts, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, he is an assistant over there, which is probably why he's so high up there. Had some great years with the Blazers and has kind of been – I've been waiting for his opportunity to kind of pop back up. So yeah, I mean, I feel like Terry's a decent shout for sure. Monty Williams, I don't know. And Mike D'Antoni just doesn't really fit their system. I guess the Terry Stotts shout is also obviously coaching the Blazers for so long. Damian Lillard and that connection.
Yeah.
Maybe he can figure out what's going on with Dame over in Milwaukee right now.
And last but not least, this segment is going to be called Do You Want to Feel Old?
Oh, boy.
Cal basketball. We know about Andrej Stojakovic joining Cal basketball. Can I one-up you, Chris, with the Stephon Marbury II?
What?
Yes. Both guards on the Cal Bears. Stephon Marbury II joining Andrej Stojakovic on Team Nepo. So let's go Cal. Let's see what they can do this season. We've taken a trip around the NBA. Now let's go around the NFL on the other side. Stiles Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out sacktownsports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on SacktownSports.com.
Rod Thomas, a special intimate performance.
I don't wanna be lonely no more. I don't wanna have to pay for
Benefiting Sidewalk Angels Foundation. One night only, Saturday, November 16th, the venue at Thunder Valley. Rod Thomas, live. For tickets now, visit ThunderValleyResort.com.
Sacramento State football is back at home this Saturday. Join us for Salute to Heroes Night and check out some high-flying action between your Sacramento State Hornets and the Portland State Vikings. And after the game, stick around for the post-game fireworks show. It's this Saturday, November 2nd at Hornet Stadium. 6 o'clock game time between Sacramento State and Portland State. Tickets on sale now at hornetsports.com. We'll see you there, and Stingers up.
Hey, Aggie fans, Coach Plow here. If you haven't made it out to a game yet, we've only got 2 opportunities left this season, starting November 2nd against Northern Colorado. We're excited to celebrate all those who helped make this campus great with faculty and staff appreciation and parent-family weekend. And for all you fans of the band, we've got local high schools joining us to ramp up the atmosphere. So grab your tickets today and join us by visiting ucdavis.com/tickets. Go Ags.
There's no better time than now to get yourself into a brand new Jeep because it's Jeep Adventure Days at Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, offering the best deals in town and a selection other dealers are jealous of. Stop on by. They're just off of Business 80 across from Hagen Oaks Golf Complex. Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Bottom of the hour, the second hour, my last segment with you guys. Chris, appreciate you picking me up.
Of course.
This week. We'll be back in full effect next week. Nate, thank you as well.
We've got a Kings home game, I think. Oh, no, not till Wednesday, right?
Nate, so you're a part of this now. You're coming to games now pretty often.
Part of what?
Just like our Kings home game movement.
I've been with 1140 longer than you.
I know, but you weren't I don't remember you as
I didn't go to every game
last season.
It was an hours thing because I didn't get full time here until very recently.
There you go. Everybody tell Nate congrats.
No,
and say what's up to him and his blonde hair.
You can talk to
see
me.
him in the media section. He loves when you ask to take pictures with him as well, and he can take a picture of
Literally
you.
no one's ever.
And he
done
can take
that.
a picture of you because he's gonna have
a camera.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Nate.
And we will be reviewing media food.
No, it's not. I don't think we should. Chris has been trying to be nice about this. We shouldn't do that.
Then
on
be
the air.
mean about it.
We shouldn't do
I
it at all.
liked the last food. Jason didn't. I did.
I think
that statement right there.
Yeah. I think if we get clearance from the Kings PR people, maybe we will.
I just think it's. I just
gonna
think
be
it's
like,
high
"You wanna
risk,
do
low reward."
what?
I just think it's high risk, low reward.
Because no one even gets to eat it.
Yeah,
It's like-
exactly.
it's for like 30 people.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's for 30. You know? It feels like it's for 3.
All right, Mark Haynes of the Sacramento Observer joins us at noon, so you don't want to miss what Mark has to say about the Kings and the start to that season. But now we go around. The NFL.
This one doesn't have a drop like this.
It still hits, though.
Yeah.
It still hits,
Call
though.
Kyle. I'm out of here. So much for full time.
Speaking of hitting, let's talk football. Guys, this is an interesting situation where DJ Moore expressed dissatisfaction with Doug Kramer and a goal line play call earlier this week. Then DJ Moore told everyone that Matt Eberflus said to keep the candor in-house. And I just think it's funny that he told people that Matt Eberflus told him to keep it in-house, whereas you probably just shouldn't say it. People are starting to think that Matt Eberflus is losing the locker room, and terrible timing as you just got your franchise quarterback. Here's the sound.
And we all talked about it, and me and Flus talked about it with the captains, and just got to stay in house next time. I mean, I'm not going to say sorry for what I said, but at the same time, it is it should have just stayed in house. But I said what I said.
Is that when you guys had that captain's meeting with Flus? Was that something he tried to express, keeping stuff in house?
Yeah, and going forward, that's probably going to be what it is. I mean, stuff slipped, and I mean, I answered the question truthfully.
I have two things really quick in this video. First of all, he has the biggest something eating grin you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, it's the grin that really says, I don't care about this situation.
He has a toothpick in.
Yes.
That's hanging out very far. It's almost levitating. It's so far out of his mouth. And Matt Eberflus is gone.
Yeah.
Right?
Like he could care less, DJ Moore, about
he
any
is,
of that.
yes.
If somebody tells
he doesn't care.
Right. If our boss said, hey guys, I don't think you guys should do this. You don't then go on the air and say, we're not going to do this because our boss said not to do this. That's not normally how it works.
Do that sometimes.
Well, we're trying to get you to stop doing that. All right, continuing around the NFL. Chris, how impressed are you? First down rushing. Here's the list from 3 to 1. Breece Hall, 3. Aaron Jones, 2. Brock Purdy, number 1 with 22 rushing first downs. Is he better than Lamar Jackson?
What?
I'm kidding. But as far as rushing the football, is he underrated in the way he can scramble for first downs?
Yeah, I've always said this too. I think that in fantasy football, they should count first downs. I think that that's part of the reason why, some players don't get the proper respect that they deserve, because it doesn't fully encapsulate hey, it's 3rd and 4. And yeah, you technically only got 4 rushing yards there, but it was a massive, massive play, and it feels like it needs to represent that. It feels like in general, I've always paid attention to who gets the most first downs, just in terms of how a team is going to value that player, and getting. I mean, for your quarterback to have more first down rushes than some of the elite running backs in the league, that's pretty crazy, and that's definitely Brock showing again in more than one ways. He's extending plays and he's keeping the ship moving, and that's the part where I kind of am very hesitant to go in on any sort of Brock Purdy hate for this season, just because it's felt to me like he's doing the best he can to keep this ship floating.
Yeah, and I know he ran wild against the Cowboys, but the Chiefs, I will say, one of the things, as we had the whole conversation with Spagnuolo, does Brock actually have no weaknesses, or what's the situation there? I do feel like the Chiefs are the one team that respect Brock as much as any other team, really, or more than any other team when it comes to running the football. They try to make sure that he doesn't run it. I know I saw somewhere somebody said, I think it might have been Lombardi, that the Cowboys tried to put a spy on Brock. I'm not sure. Clearly it didn't work, but I do know that whatever the Chiefs do, they don't let Brock scramble and scurry around.
Brock did it. Brock said it himself in a post game. I don't know if there is a tweet you're talking about, but Brock even did reference the Chiefs doing it. He said, I know the Chiefs did it, but he said that teams are doing it.
There you go. And the Chiefs, we know the personnel that they have versus others is just second to none. Speaking of second to none, Jared Jones went on his favorite station with his favorite host, 105.3 The Fan, to let everyone know that Trayvon Diggs has a tear in his calf, game time decision. And I think the funny part about this is that Jerry just doing it very nonchalantly. I mean, he does everything, Chris. When you make a lot of money, aren't you supposed to do less?
Yes.
Jerry's breaking news. Yeah. He's everything to this team.
Creating news.
He is creating news. He is breaking news. He is generating news. Is he the team trainer as well? Is that how we know that Trayvon Diggs has a tear? It's a game time decision. We know how those calves can be. I mean, I don't know if he's gonna play or not.
Yeah, I mean, Jerry he just needs to cancel this radio spot. I mean, I'm sure it does plenty for the radio station's viewers, but feels like this guy just cannot get out of his own way. And this probably isn't the way that, things are should be typically announced. And, it's a big blow. I mean, if you tear your calf, no doctor here, but I would assume that means how is that a game time decision? Like, I'll tell you right now, if I tear my calf, I ain't playing on Sunday, and I'm not playing the next Sunday, and probably not the one after that either.
Yeah, but these guys are built different.
I guess.
To be fair,
take that thing.
He did. I left this out. He slight tear, so whatever that. But still, there's a tear in there. Whatever, and
that the tear.
That could be like the whole thing's getting ready to go. But
yikes!
Do you guys think
Cowboys need help? So.
Speaking of the Cowboys, Mike McCarthy, all that. Who do you guys think the next head coach out, or is there going to be a head coach fired before the season ends?
I think Eberflus is safe because of the rookie situation, and they're not playing terrible. I just think they're going to want to be better. I think Antonio Pierce.
AP is my shout.
I mean, the thing is, it's only been 1 year, but it's different 1 year when you don't have any cachet behind you.
Right.
So I think that could be worrisome for him. Doug Peterson. Yeah, guys like that.
Probably next. They probably let AP coach out the rest of the year, but there's no reason to let Doug Peterson if they continue to lose. I mean, you know what you're getting.
It's head coach number 3 for Trevor Lawrence, who Chris still has not.
I can't quit him.
Given up on.
I really think Mike McCarthy. I mean, we know that Jerry Jones has a very long leash. Like, look what he did with Jason Garrett. I don't know. He kept him around for like a decade.
Clapper.
But I mean, he should be gone. I know Dallas fans want him gone.
Yeah, 100%.
530 says Nate's got higher seniority than you, talking to me about
more tenure.
Yeah, about the
that's
King situation. That's true.
I make about a third of what Allen makes.
No, that's true. That's true, 530. I don't know how'd you know that one. 830 says Quad Purdy been in full effect this season. That's from Trey. Yes, he has. Speaking of running quarterbacks, my guy, friend of me.
Yes.
Friend of me.
Yep,
you know, talk about taking pictures. Yep. The most famous picture coming from Super Bowl Media Row, my picture with Cam Newton where we look like we were on two different planets.
Like on the cover of Twins, Arnold Schwarzenegger and
that's right.
And Danny DeVito.
Okay. All right. What was it? The Manute Bowl and Spud Webb picture? I mean, similar to that. Cam roasts Anthony Richardson. And I think the reason this hits for me is because we know what Cam did. And we saw Luke Kuechly. We heard Luke Kuechly talk about it earlier this week. This is coming from the man himself, Cam Newton. Not happy with Anthony Richardson. And to give some background, Anthony Richardson this offseason said that he thought the NFL was easier than college. That's just a clip, but it's a very bad clip because of where we are right now. Here's Cam.
You're in the big leagues now, guy. It's the big leagues. A lot of guys are in college and they're thinking like, oh, man, bro, I'm going to dominate. No, you just think you're going to do what Lamar Jackson does. You just think you're going to do what Peyton Manning and Tom Brady do. You think you're just going to do what Lamar Jackson do. No, bro. No, it's not. It ain't easy. This game is not easy, bro. When I said things over my career that said, bro, I had to have the endurance of a wide receiver.
Okay.
I also had to have the physical kind of attributes of a running back.
How to be durable like a running back.
Right? But I also had to have the mental wherewithal like a quarterback. Anthony Richardson, you possess these same type of things that you need to equip with yourself. It's not fair, bro. It's not. How you play the game, it's not fair. When I'm looking at a stat line that says you go 10 for 32 for 175 yards, 1 touchdown and an egregious interception. Egregious. Dog, you can't do that. And that's why you see a guy like Lamar Jackson get the flowers because what he does isn't easy.
Yeah.
You took the easy route when you tapped your head and said, damn, bro, I'm tired. What the f? You're a professional.
Yeah.
You don't get to say that. That's the easy way. You don't get to say that. You don't get to say playing the NFL is free and easy and you doing that like that. Your inexperience has shown. And now you've been held to that, and now you're on the bench.
Yikes.
He let it sing, bro.
Yeah.
He let it all out. And I love it. Because Cam is the one guy where you could say, that dude really did it. He really did it. And you can't,
except in the Super Bowl.
All right. You're the one who wanted to play. I liked it. You loved it. So don't come on the air and say except in the Super Bowl.
No, I like the thing, but he just didn't dive at the ball in the Super Bowl. And he should have at least tried a little harder.
I think in all seriousness, the Colts should definitely look to bring in Cam as their backup at some point here. Like if you're going to have Anthony Richardson and you're going to commit to him, you have organizations like the Ravens out here having Snoop Huntley as Lamar's backup. Now they have Josh Johnson. I think it would make a lot of sense. The only guy who's really built like Cam and has had success playing at that frame with the attributes that Anthony Richardson has, who better to maybe mentor him than a Cam Newton? And obviously you don't want Cam going out there and playing, but for talks like that and for how to really properly utilize his skill set best, I can't imagine a better person to have in that quarterback room than Cam.
Yeah, I think it's a good shout. I think obviously Cam probably you think Cam is to the point now because RG3 was still doing this. I can still remember when he ran that 40 in a suit.
Oh,
I feel like maybe that Cam is getting to scratch that itch and he's on First Take. Maybe Cam is finally done with actually feeling like he's a starter.
He should not play.
No, that's what I'm saying. If you bring Cam, we'll bring you in.
Coach.
We'll bring you in, but this is the situation. If there's any inclination like you think I'm going to come in and take a spot, then we can't bring you in.
No, we're going to have Gardner Minshew and Cam Newton.
Yes.
Cam Newton's just going to be there. If Anthony Richardson goes down, Gardner Minshew can play.
To your point, too, RG3 was a backup for Lamar.
Oh,
he was.
Really? Yeah, that's right.
He was, and still thinks he can do that now. That's just how it goes. All right, Mark Haynes of the Sacramento Observer when we return, but it will be Chris and Nate taking you to the finish line. Everybody have a great weekend. I'll talk to you soon. Mark Haynes when we return. Chris and Nate got you. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The place you'll find Kevin Herter is Sacktown Sports.
Herter's open, steps into three. He's got the triple. Hey, Sacramento, it's Kevin Herter, and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Wendy's breakfast burrito has an entire breakfast in every bite. Fresh cracked eggs, seasoned potatoes, American cheese, cheese sauce, and sausage or bacon. So the first bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. And the second bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. You get the idea. And now get yours with $1 any size soft drink. Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
All right, gentlemen. This is Emmett Smith on behalf of The Pen, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing kit. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable. And one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, The Pen is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, The Pen is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
Hi, I'm Justin Gingery. One of the most common questions I receive is what makes us different from other law firms. At Gingery, Hammer & Associates, we handle your case from beginning to end. Whether your case reaches a settlement, whether we need to file suit, or even take it all the way to trial, we will be with you along the entire way. And because we are committed to you and your case, we are as invested as you are in making sure you get the outcome you deserve. If you have an injury, just call Gingery.
Finally, an easy way to find home improvement contractors. Just visit subcontractorsunited.com and simplify your search for home services professionals. From cabinets to windows, roofing to plumbing, Subcontractors United is an easy, simple way to find and hire a home improvement contractor. And you never have to give up personal information. So no harassing phone calls like you get from those other websites. SubcontractorsUnited.com is sponsored by D&D Cabinets and Savage Design.
Kill Switch Engage. Live in concert. Saturday, March 15th at Hard Rock Live, Sacramento. With special guests, Publicon TX, Fit for a King, and Frozen Soul. Kill Switch Engage. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. Kill Switch Engage, live.
Carmichael Dave here from my good friends at American Energy. Cool weather, if not cold weather, is in our future. You know that. It'll eventually get there, and American Energy wants to make sure your system is operating safely and properly. So now is the time to take advantage of the $49 fall tune-up inspection. That's regularly $119, but includes a full safety and duct inspection. And if your system's over 10 years old, it's free. The tune-up is on American Energy. Give them a call right now. They're offering $50 off your first recommended repair, or if you need a new furnace, that's half off the price of a new unit. American Energy been serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You can check them out at theaeway.com for an instant quote. That's theaeway.com. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9998 now.
KHD HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
Stiles and Watkins, as you just heard, Alan Stiles announce his exit from the show. He's got some business to take care of. Hopefully he has a good, safe weekend. Hopefully he had a good Halloween yesterday. And joining us, filling in for Alan, at least just for the segment. Appreciate his time. Mark Haynes of the Sacramento Observer. Looks like he's enjoying a nice little outdoor day. It's the sunshine's kind of past us, but that's not stopped Mark from enjoying out the Sacramento sunshine. Mark, how you doing today? Thank you for joining us, man.
Hey, Watt, man, I'm doing good, man. And like you said, man, I'm soaking in this nice day we have out here because I don't know when we go get this back. But
yeah.
Hey, man, I appreciate you guys for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Anytime. Hopefully it's the first of many. Let's start things off. I mean, the Kings this season so far obviously have a couple games this weekend, one tonight and one tomorrow as well against some easier teams. And that's where we're going to start today is 2 wins against 2 good teams, or I guess you could call them better teams in the Western Conference this year, in the Lakers and the Wolves. But then two wins against some of the inferior opponents, frankly. I mean, you get the Blazers win, and then the Utah Jazz so far this season have looked like one of the worst teams in the NBA. Do you think that this is a sign that this team is more middle of the pack than what we anticipate, with the 2 losses coming to the better teams and then just kind of beating up on the bad teams? Or do you think that that's just kind of unfortunate scheduling and the Kings, we don't really know exactly where they're at right now?
I think I would go with the second part. I would say it's just due to the schedule. I think it's a good sign that they are taking care of the teams that they should beat. We knew the Lakers would be a tough opponent for them. We knew Minnesota is going to be, somewhere in the top of the West. So them are 2, solid teams that, it could go either way. We'll see them again later down the road. But when you play, Utah and guys like this, you have to get those wins. Those are wins that you can't let slip by, because that's, as we seen last season, that's kind of was the separation. Although Malik Monk went down at the end of the year, when you look back at the schedule, you look at all those games they should have won, they lost them, and it hurt them in the end.
Yeah, for sure. Mark Haynes of the Sacramento Observer joining us. Mark, what has really stuck out to you so far about DeMar DeRozan and his impact on this roster so far this season?
Well, I thought DeMar would be a really, really good fit, but I don't know. I don't think I seen him clicking, so quickly as from the jump. He's going to score the basketball. He's doing a good job of last season, and throughout his career, people always talked about him, defensively potentially being a liability. And, he's leading the team in steals right now with two a game or whatever. So he's competing on both ends. He's, he's being, the DeMar DeRozan that, we've seen him be in the past. And, that's a good thing for the Kings moving forward, because I imagine only things will get better for him moving forward.
Mark, the other day we had De'Aaron Fox surpass 10,000 points for the Sacramento Kings and for his career in general. We, and I say we, Whitey and Drapes did a list this summer of the 40 best Kings of all time. I want to say off the top of my head, De'Aaron was top 5. Just in general, I mean, where do you put De'Aaron standing right now amongst the Sacramento specific Kings greats? And do you think one day there was tons of talk this weekend about D Wade's statue being unveiled? Do you think maybe one day De'Aaron might have a statue right next to that piglet thing that's out front at Golden One Center right now?
Well, obviously, if he's able to bring a championship to Sacramento,
man,
it's a no-brainer. He has to get a statue, and that would solidify him as the greatest Sacramento Kings player of all time. And top 5, yeah, that's for certain right now, especially with all the accomplishments he's had, on the court from a statistical standpoint. But in order to, just curious, who did they have number 1?
I believe it was Webb 1. I think Mitch was 2. I want to say De'Aaron might have been 3. I can pull it up for you if I'm not mistaken. Peja or DMC might have been wrapping up the top 5, but it was definitely Webb and Mitch 1 and 2. I believe Webb was 1, Mitch was 2, and then I can't remember if DMC was 3 or if De'Aaron was 3, but I'm pretty sure it was DeMarcus, De'Aaron, and Peja that wrapped out the rest of the top 5.
Yeah, I think y'all spot on. I think, this is kind of like, when we seen LeBron or whatever, when he first came out, and they'll say he'll be the next Michael Jordan, and then he started creeping into the conversation and whatnot. I think De'Aaron hitting his 10,000 mark put him right there. I would put him at 3 as well, thinking about those guys. But it put him right there for, being able to take that top spot, with a few more accolades and, get deeper. Really, you think about it, all he really needs is one deep playoff run and get to the conference final or get to the finals. If he makes it to the finals, he will be the greatest Sacramento Kings ever.
Yeah, I think that's really the thing that he's missing, right, is just the deep playoff runs. And, Webb, obviously, that team got about as close as you can, 3 wins in the Western Finals, and obviously we know how that ended up going. But it feels like De'Aaron is definitely at the least on track and leading this team to the playoffs, multiple playoff seasons, definitely. It only helps his case. And as we talk about, deep playoff runs and depth in general, a lot of talk about the Kings and their rotation so far this season, whether it be Keon Ellis or Trey Lyles and how he's playing so far this year. How do you feel about the Kings bench so far? Because I think a lot of the conversation so far through 4 games has been, like Malik scores and Keon, if he gets minutes, is going to be impactful. But Trey Lyles, again, isn't really hitting shots right now. How do you feel about the Kings bench? And, realistically, I mean, is it good enough, you think, to make a deep run, or do you think that that's maybe where they're going to address something by the trade deadline?
Yeah, and I know, yesterday was Halloween, so we're past the scary day. But no, it's very scary for the Kings and how the bench has looked thus far. And it's not that I don't know if changes need to be made per se. Obviously, you got to figure out. Mike Brown has to figure out a way to get the starters rest, and when they're resting, the bench guys got to give quality minutes, which we haven't got that from them right now. And I think it's for those guys, it's very early in the season. You got Kevin Huerter's back in the lineup, and it's Trey Lyles missed a ton of games last year, and I think Keon was a starter, so it's a lot of people adjusting to new roles, and I think once they settle in, we'll get a better look at how is this a problem or not. But right now, it doesn't look good at all. But it's early. 4 games into the season. They got the Hawks tonight. You know, this a good team to get a win against and, you know, get some confidence in your bench players.
Mark Haynes, Sacramento Observer. Mark, yeah, you mentioned Keon there, and we're talking about the bench. What are just your general thoughts on the conversation that really dominated a lot of the preseason and training camp with Keon versus Kevin and maybe even Malik, if you're a Malik guy, into the starting lineup? What has kind of been your thoughts really this past year and a half, I guess, on the who should start at that 2-guard spot?
Well, I think it's clear that you know, Malik is the best player out of the three.
Agreed.
But if you know, if we take Malik off of that bench, you know, now in these first four games, you know, obviously maybe Kevin, you know, still has some solid games or whatever, but his role changes with the second year as well. But you pretty much get nothing, you know, in these first 4 games. So I think Malik is the guy that is necessary. At first I was kind of on the fence about it, but now I kind of agree with Mike. It's necessary to have Malik on the bench. So then you look at Kevin and Keon, it's really a matter of, you know, do you want to with spacing and do you want an extra defender on the floor? And also you want I like Kevin Huerter in the starting lineup to, you know, to get his confidence going, because he struggled a lot with his shot last year, and after the All-Star break or whatever, it was bad. So I like to see, you know, him getting going and getting a shot, getting his rhythm. I feel like Keon is a guy. I think Keon is a guy that needs minutes, and he's going to impact the game once he get in. So, you know, I agree with the Kevin Huerter, you know, move because of how versatile Malik Monk is and Keon Ellis.
Mark Haynes of the Sacramento Observer. Mark, thank you so much for joining us. One more for you on the way out, though. Just in general, what are some things you're looking forward to this weekend from the Sacramento Kings? 2 games, like you said, today against Atlanta, tomorrow in Toronto. Is there anything that you're kind of hoping to get answered by the end of this weekend from the Kings' perspective?
Well, I'm actually hoping at least one of these games is like a blowout, just so I see. You know, I want to see the bench play more. I want to see, you know, is this really a problem? Is there, you know, is size going to be an issue? Obviously, Alex Lynn is the long big man on the team or whatever, a 7-footer. But, you know, I feel like we've gotten so big of a heavy dose of the starters, and not even, you know, I'm going to say the 6 starters with Malik Monk being included. We know what we're getting from them.
Right.
It's that bottom half that I'm concerned with, and I want to see. You know, I feel like this is a good opportunity to get some big wins, and they could get some big minutes.
Absolutely, I think that's a great answer. And with the back-to-back, you know, with Toronto and Atlanta, obviously, yeah, a blowout would be exactly what the doctor ordered. Give those guys some rest on either end of it, and like you said, I mean, I think Mike Brown said during the preseason and has echoed it a couple different times here. He doesn't really feel like he has a decent grasp on this team, or as good of a grasp as what he would hope on the rotation. And I think, just like you put it there, I think a blowout and an opportunity to kind of give these bench guys a little extended run, I think would go a long way for this team down the line here. Mark, thank you so much for joining us. We'll definitely have to have you on again sometime soon, and hopefully it's still nice outside so you can have your nice little backdrop too.
Yes, sir, man. Thank you again, man. It was a pleasure.
Appreciate you, Mark. Thanks, man.
Hey, bro.
All right. Coming up next, we will preview Saturday's game. Obviously, there's a game today. We'll preview that on the way out of the show, but we're going to preview Saturday's game against the Toronto Raptors, and there's a couple revenge games at stake on Saturday. We're going to tell you about those coming up next. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Live and local.
With everything 49ers.
Intercepted by Fred Warner. Dives for the end zone. Touchdown! San Francisco! Bob Ball, George went up and caught the ball. Touchdown!
The 49ers play on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Sacktown Sports. Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports. Talking a little preview action in the 6 on Saturday. Looking for revenge. In the words of Drake, a Toronto native, of course. Ooh, you know what I just thought about? Actually, I'll get into it in a second here. Let's first preview Kings Raptors by the numbers, and then I'll give you what just popped into my brain there for a second. 29th in the NBA, the Toronto Raptors are in opponent three-point percentage. That should tell you one thing. Kings let it fly. 41% teams shoot against the Raptors so far in this early season. The Kings so far this year haven't really been that dominant three-point shooting team so far. Hopefully they can take advantage of that. But if not from three, it should be a field day in general for this team. Is not only are they 29th, the Raptors are in opponent three-point percentage, they are also 29th in just general field goal percentage across the NBA. 49.3% the Raptors have allowed through 4 games so far. Defense has not been the answer in Toronto. They are 30th in defensive rating, last in the NBA in defensive rating, 119.2 they've put up so far. Also not really getting it. It's not like they're, hey, let's just sell out and be great at one thing. They are very average offensively as well. A 111.3 offensive rating. They're 24th in opponent's second chance points per game at 16 a game. And we know, again, Mike Brown highlighted earlier this preseason, the Kings want to address the offensive rebounding front. They want to attack the glass. The Raptors have allowed a ton of teams to go off against them on the other side of the floor. Hopefully the Kings can do that on the second night of a back-to-back. That's exactly what you would hope for, is a team that does not defend and a team that is very, very young and can make a lot of young mistakes. One of those young players we know very, very well here in Sacramento, and that is Davion Mitchell, who will be making his first appearance against his former squad. Davion has had it's been a tough start to his Raptors career so far. Nothing too impressive from Davion. Nothing bad. I wouldn't say he has necessarily struggled on that team, especially considering how many young players they have. He has not been one of their worst players for sure, but I think he's just kind of struggled to find where his place is going to be. Let's see here. His most recent game was a couple days ago in a loss to the Charlotte Hornets. He was 5 of 11 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3. He continues to really struggle from beyond the arc. 11 assists for Davion, which is something we talked about earlier this season. That's really been the one place where he has been consistent, especially these last 3 games, putting up assist totals of 8, 6, and 11. The scoring has been here and there. He has 2 8-point performances, a 0-point performance sandwiched in there with 16 and 11 points in his last 2 games. So it's been a little bit of trick or treat with Davion Mitchell so far for the Raptors this season, but I think he'll figure it out again. He's going to get a long leash there. He's averaging 27 minutes a game so far this season. So they're really giving him a good opportunity to find things out. And it's really an opportunity he was never going to get here in Sacramento. Unless De'Aaron Fox came up with some injury that was going to be long-term, Davion was just never going to get a legitimate shot at a starting spot here in Sacramento. And so at the very least, I think a lot of guys end up leaving their careers with a lot of regrets saying, I just kind of wish I would have gotten an opportunity to show what I got. Well, that's exactly what Davion's gotten here so far through 4 games through 5 games is an opportunity here to show exactly what he's got. And you're not going to get the answer in 5 games. You're not going to figure out who Davion Mitchell is through 5 games. You have to give him a proper leash to kind of get to know his teammates, get to know his system, and figure out where he can be the biggest level of impact. Because Davion is coming from, as crazy as it sounds, ladies and gentlemen, Davion's coming from a winning organization, okay? When Davion has came to the Sacramento Kings, they have had success. And so Davion has to figure out, how do I go from being a role player, like a very, very much a role player with one team here in Sacramento, to now I'm kind of looked at as one of the key pieces night in, night out on, if I play well, there's a good chance it really helps my team win this game. It's a really big adjustment, and I think it's a tough adjustment for somebody who hasn't been asked to do that so far in the NBA. And Davion Mitchell, we'll see. We'll see how good he can end up being. I definitely think he's at the very least a backup point guard, somebody that you would love to have on your roster, a change of pace point guard, or maybe even just a as we called him a lot of times last year, a junkyard dog that you can just throw out there and say, go for 5 minutes, make that point guard's life absolute hell. That is the Davion Mitchell lifestyle that we know and came accustomed to. And hopefully it doesn't happen on Saturday, but hopefully Davion can figure things out up there, I guess I should say, in Toronto. Other notable things from this game, while we talk about the Davion Mitchell revenge game, it is just as much, if not more, about DeMar DeRozan making his return to Toronto. I could go through the things that DeMar DeRozan is the franchise leader in, but I would probably need 2 more segments in order to do it. Just a little spark notes. Number 1 in all-time game played as a Toronto Raptor. That means so much to specifically that city, that franchise. That is also, I should mention, Vince Carter is having his jersey retired on Saturday as well. Not a coincidence that DeMar DeRozan, who is their all-time leader, and again, games played, minutes played, field goals, field goal attempts, 2-point field goals, free throws, everything. DeMar DeRozan has led that organization in just about any sort of relevant longevity stat. DeMar DeRozan has it. It is not a coincidence that they are retiring their first ever jersey retirement in Toronto. One Vince Carter, the number 15, which we all know and love, especially here in Sacramento. We got to know Vince for a year. Really going to be an awesome, incredible atmosphere, I would imagine, in Toronto for that night. You'd imagine they're going to pack the house. Maybe that brings a certain level of energy that the Kings need to be ready for. Second night of a back-to-back. Maybe you're unprepared for a full building in Toronto with fans that are feeling super nostalgic, just want to have a good night on one of their favorite players ever jersey retirement. Hopefully the Kings kind of account for that, because I do think that things like that really do matter, especially with the energy of that building. For one night, it could be a problem. So hopefully the Kings are aware of that. I know DeMar is. I can't imagine that it's just going to be a celebration of Vince. I would imagine they're also going to have a little bit of something special for DeMar. I know he's came back to Toronto a couple different times. He's obviously made some trips around San Antonio and Chicago when they visit Toronto. So it won't be anything too crazy. But again, with Vince having his jersey retired, I feel like DeMar will get a little bit of a nod just because of how long he was there for that franchise. And, you know, if Vince Carter's the first number that they have retired, I would be a little bit surprised if they don't have DeMar DeRozan's number 10 retired at some point after he calls it quits on a career. But hopefully that's not for a couple of years down the line, as obviously we want him to be here thriving in Sacramento for at least a couple more years. And real quick, as the Raptors, the Kings aren't the only team that's going to be playing a back-to-back on Saturday. The Raptors as well will be on their second night of a back-to-back as they play today I believe it would make sense if it's also in Toronto, but I just want to clarify here. They are playing in Toronto tonight, and their injury report includes Bruce Brown, who's out with a knee, Kelly Olynyk, who is out with a back injury. You also have Jacoby Walter, their first-round pick. It is in Toronto against the Lakers today at 4:30, same time as the Kings tip-off. So both teams will have equal amount of rest. Again, Kelly Olynyk out with his back. Jacoby Walter questionable with his shoulder. Emmanuel Quickley is also questionable for tonight's game against the Lakers with a pelvis injury. And Scotty Barnes, as we read a couple days ago on the show, Scotty Barnes is out with an orbital fracture, I believe, which is going to keep him out for a bit of time, an extended period of time. So again, tonight, no Emmanuel Quickley, possibly no Emmanuel Quickley, no Bruce Brown, no Kelly Olynyk for the Raptors. You would expect a pretty similar injury report tomorrow, even if, let's say, an Emmanuel Quickley plays today, even though he's questionable. Maybe you don't want to test that second night of a back-to-back, and there's a possibility that he rests even if he plays today. So definitely keep an eye out for the Raptors injury report today and how that will affect tomorrow. And again, we will preview tonight's game or today's 4:30 tip-off in Atlanta for the Sacramento Kings in our last segment. So definitely stay tuned for that. And you also are definitely going to want to stay tuned, especially you San Francisco 49ers fan. We have a 4-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time Pro Bowler, 13-year NFL veteran. Jesse Sapolo is joining us next right here. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Ready to pre-game your next big arena event? Head to Beach Hut Deli, a Sacramento tradition for over 40 years, where aloha is served daily. Located just steps away from the arena, whether it's game day or concert night, it's the perfect spot to gather with friends and enjoy amazing sandwiches. Are you planning a bigger get-together? Beach Hut Deli offers endless catering options to bring those delicious flavors to your next party or event. Beach Hut Deli. Good vibes, great food, and epic times await.
It's 4th and goal. The pressure's on. The home team needs this to win it. No matter what you're up against, it's always a win at Northern California's #1 Honda dealer, Stockton Honda. Special finance options and trade-in offers make it easier than ever to upgrade your ride. Because at Stockton Honda, we believe everyone deserves a winning deal.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Number 1 claims based on 2023 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company. Sold on report.
The next election is November 5th. Vote centers open October 26th. Remember to vote early and avoid the lines. Learn more at elections.saccounty.gov or call toll-free 800-762-8019.
Increase leads and get more customers. We create tailored digital marketing strategies that deliver results. On your next campaign, aim higher. Go to aimyourdigital.com and get started today. aimyourdigital.com.
At the law offices of Dale R. Gomes, we understand that when you're facing a crisis, you need more than just a lawyer. You need a team. Our dedicated attorneys work together, combining decades of experience to guide you through personal injury or criminal defense matters with care and expertise. We're committed to supporting you every step of the way, ensuring your voice is heard and your rights are protected. With offices in Sacramento and El Dorado County, reach out to the law offices of Dale R. Gomes today, 916-999-9033, or online at dalegomslaw.com. Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sacktown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting sacktownsports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
I think the dining room table is one of the most important pieces of furniture in a home. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa for Naturewood Home Furnishings. The dining room is not only where families share meals prepared with love for relatives and guests, but also where the warm conversations remind us why those around our table are so important to us. Right now, Naturewood Home Furnishings is offering more than 150 new dining tables during their in-stock dining sale. All dining room furniture is on sale, including tables, chairs, hutches, and buffets. You can choose from casual to formal and in between. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings so when that doorbell rings and your company is waiting, you can be proud to seat them around your new dining room with the distinctive pieces of furniture that you'll love for their individuality today and you'll treasure for memories you'll have for tomorrow. Naturewood Home Furnishings off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Stiles and Watkins. Alan had to run out to handle a little bit of business, so I'm going to be taking you the rest of the way, all the way until, Nate, we're out of here at 2 o'clock usually, right? 2 o'clock, and then the drive guys will take you the rest of the way. They got a short show, lucky guys, as we have Kings tip-off at 4:30. So, that's a
3 o'clock start for
3 o'clock start for game day? Yeah, so
game day, I guess.
Yeah, it's game day. It's game day today. That's an hour-long show of Whitey and Drapes taking you all the way to, as Nate mentioned, game day. Game night with Scott Marsh and Henry Turner, and then we will have Kings tip-off for you at 4:30 from Atlanta as they take on those Hawks. And we are very excited in a couple minutes here to talk with Jesse Sapolo, four-time Super Bowl champion, offensive lineman for the 49ers. And obviously we're going to ask him a ton about how this Niner season has gone, if he's ever, in his 13-year career in the NFL, obviously with 4 of them ending in Super Bowl trophies, has he ever gone through a season like this and seen it end successfully? Now, obviously, that's the big talk around Niner Town right now is, you haven't started how you want to start, but you still have the bones of a lot of the team that brought you to the Super Bowl last year and, frankly, was the best team in the NFL for a majority of last season as well. So you have a lot of the same pieces and just haven't gotten the same results. Should Niner fans feel bad about the situation they're in now, or is there still hope that they can turn things around? Really excited to get Jesse's thoughts on that. And of course, we'll ask him some line questions. Got to ask him about Niners rookie Dominic Pooney, who has just been absolutely killing it all season long. And
that's the most excited thing. I'm here. I'm
sure.
ready. I always like
linemen
to hear
talking linemen.
Yes, exactly. Dude. Because my knowledge is so minimal on the position, right, especially offensive lineman, wherever Jesse was a center and a guard. Pooney's just been playing right guard for the Niners.
Yeah.
Next to McKivitz over there, and Feliciano might be coming back soon, which is great, is what our insider Emil told me, who's actually got a great article up this morning on who the Niners should be trading for.
Ooh.
But I just lineman on lineman, like when we have Brad on, and because he's a former lineman, right. I mean, it's no offense to Brad, but Jesse's a little higher level, 4 Super Bowls, but no big deal. But that is just so fascinating to me, just to understand like the nuances of how to play the game from that position.
Yeah, because everyone thinks that line play is just, hey, run into the other guy, be stronger, be faster, be better. And there's definitely a lot of intricacies that we just don't know about and don't really talk about. So really excited to get Jesse's thoughts on that as I see Nate's on the phone now with him. So we'll be joined by Jesse in just about a minute here. Just to kind of lay out the rest of the show, we will be going over Devin Booker put up some points yesterday in the new Intuit Dome, going over some arena records. What is the Golden One Center record? Of course, we're still going to do top stories, and Nate and I are still going to give our NFL picks, and we'll get Alan's thoughts on that as well. And then we wrap up the show with a little Kings Hawks preview, some prop talk, shout outs, and closeouts. But joining us right now, let me lay it out for you. 4-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time Pro Bowler, 13-year NFL veteran. All of those 13 years spent with I almost said the silver and gold, the red and gold, the San Francisco 49ers. Jesse Sapolo, absolutely honored to have you on, Jesse. Thank you so much. We'll get into the I know you're going to be involved with the Golden Heart Run at Levi's this weekend. We'll get to that in just a minute. But first off, 13 years with one team. I feel like we talk about it all the time in basketball with guys like Kobe and Tim Duncan, Steph Curry nowadays. But what does it mean to play with one organization? What does it mean to you personally to play with an organization for 13 years?
Well, it means a lot. Looking back on it now, like you said, there's not many people that do it now. So it's something that I take pride in, the fact that I wore one uniform. Nowadays, it's normal to wear 3 uniforms sometimes. Right. But the fact that we were the team during my era there, and to only play for the 49ers is something that I can look back on and share that with my kids and grandkids, that's the only team that our family is going to cheer for.
That's awesome. And yeah, I mean, the Niners this season, there's been a lot to cheer for, and there's been some to jeer for as well. 4-4 start, definitely not the start I think anybody was drawing up after the Super Bowl run last year. Just in general, I mean, you won 4 Super Bowls. You were part of a lot of other successful teams as well. Do you remember ever kind of having a season that started like how the Niners season has started so far, with just a little bit of uncertainty, maybe injuries kind of cause it to go a certain way? And then do you remember it ever starting this way, but then ending in real success at the end of the season?
Absolutely. The ring that I wear the most, in fact, the ring that I reach for to grab if I was to go anywhere for an appearance, it's a ring that we started off 6-5. Even back then, before social media, but we read the newspaper and the little fine print where people comment. There were a lot of people that jumped off the wagon. We blew a 23-point lead in Arizona. It was 23-0 at halftime, and we lost that lead. And that's when we were 6-5. And I know I can remember like it was yesterday how Bill Walsh went off. We had a couple players-only meetings, but that is a season that I remember the most, because that's when you grow as a person. When you go through a lot of adversity. The other Super Bowls that I have were blowouts, and I played on a team that went 18-1, 17-2. And those were great, great football teams. But the one that I remember the most is when you went through some adversity. And we had a team 2 years ago that started off 3-5 and went on to the NFC Championship game. So, this group can certainly do it. I know it's tough to take it all the way to the end last year and then lose it in overtime. It's tough. What people don't understand, it's tough emotionally to recover from being so close and then come back and start over. And I know that's what this team is going through. I know the fact that we had some holdouts, and I held out twice in my career. I understand it takes a little while to get your feet under you. So those are some of the issues that we're going through. And then, of course, the best running back in the league is not playing. Right. We lost an up-and-coming receiver in IU. Those are some of the stuff that we have to maneuver and fight through. But I'm confident that with this group, we're going to make a run. We just got to put 2 wins together, then you put 3 wins together, and then you go from there.
Absolutely. And I have it in my notes here that the Niners have the 4th toughest remaining strength of schedule. So if they can make it through this regular season and even just, I think at this point, make the playoffs, I feel like they have to be considered as one of the top contenders in the NFL. Even still, record doesn't really matter. You can throw them out the window. I mean, just like you said, with the amount of talent that this team has and still has waiting in the wings, it does feel like you just can't really count them out. And I do want to ask you, Jesse Sapolo, 4-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time Pro Bowler, 13-year NFL veteran, all with the Niners. I want to ask you about the Niners standout rookie this season, and really it's because I feel like you can give us better insight or at least better commentary than what I feel like most can. Dominic Pooney has been an absolute monster all season long, even from the preseason. He was really you could see early that he was going to be a dominant presence. What have you seen from him at the guard position? Where do you think he can improve at, and where do you think he already is excelling and exceeding expectations?
Well, there's no question Dominic Pooney is a gem. You find what they call diamonds in the rough. I'm an 11th round draft choice, so nobody expected a lot out of me. And even though, despite the fact that he's a 3rd rounder, which is pretty high, but nobody expected him to start from the first game as a rookie. And I think when the ultimate compliment to Dominic is when you watch the line, you don't even know which one is the rookie. That just shows you how well this young man is playing, and he's only going to get better. As he learns different nuances of what the D-line is trying to do to you. The only thing that I'll advise him is at some point, because there's so many more games in the NFL than it is in college, you're going to hit a wall. And that's when you really have to adjust your thinking from being a college football player to being an NFL player by taking care of your nutrition, make sure to rest. Not like in college, by the time you hit the wall, the college season is pretty much over. So that's going to be an adjustment, especially if we get into the playoffs.
Right. That's exactly what I was going to say, especially if the Niners make it to the playoffs. I mean, yeah, that's just not something you really think about from that perspective at all. So really appreciate that insight. And I know you're really big in the Polynesian community, obviously one of the first really big prominent Polynesian players. And I know Tua Tagovailoa has won the Polynesian Pro Football Player of the Year a couple different times. What is your relationship with him currently? And then he's obviously in the news for a lot of his health reasons. What have you kind of thought about the situation that's gone on with Tua in Miami?
Well, what? Here's a true story. This is funny. I just talked to his dad 5 minutes ago.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I told him I'll call him right back. I have a radio interview.
What a coincidence. Perfect timing.
I know. What a coincidence. So he's waiting on my call as soon as I get off the phone with you. But
we won't hold you long.
But the thing is with social media and how the NFL is approaching concussions, it's a little different approach than when I played. People forget that Steve Young was knocked out cold and he ended his career. But look at him. He's one of the best commentators out there when he was with ESPN. So, as long as the doctors cleared him, I spoke to the dad, and I kind of knew 10 days before Tua actually played that he was cleared with all the different doctors that he was seeing. And just for your information, my youngest son is also a coach for the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you got the real insight then.
Yeah, we have a connection there from that standpoint. But my son, because he did his Bill Walsh internship with the Niners, and of course, Mike McDaniel is one of our guys from here. So, and that's the connection why he's there. But Tua, no doubt, makes that team better. I think the offense looked the best last week. But then again, when you're not playing like anybody else, this game is played by human beings. He's going to have to knock off some rust as they keep going forward. But yeah, so Miami's in a tough division. They have a tough one this week in Buffalo, and hopefully Tua can make it all the way through.
Jesse Sapolo, thank you so much for joining us. 4-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time Pro Bowler, 13-year NFL veteran, all with the Niners. Before we get you out of here, before you can go talk to Mr. Tua Tagovailoa's father, can you please just give us some insight here into what your involvement is this weekend with the 49ers Golden Heart Health Run that's going on at Levi's this weekend?
Well, the Golden Heart Run is a run that raises funds to help the 49er alumni. I know we have some benefits from the NFLPA, our union, but, for a lot of guys during our era that played 2-3 years, if you don't invest your money right, you're going to need some help. And the Golden Heart Fund that's sponsoring the Golden Heart Run directly goes to our 49er alumni guys who are in need of financial help and also health, just struggling with their health. So it's a great event. It's something that was started by some of our players like Harris Barton, Ron Ferrari, Ronnie Lott, and of course Eddie DeBartolo was behind it from the very beginning. So that's an important event. This coming Saturday, I was the starter last year, and this year the starter is our 49er great linebacker, Patrick Willis.
Wow.
So, it's exciting for all the fans to come out there, have fun, run around the stadium. And it's a 4.9 miles, I believe. And it's the same chance to get back to those who laid their health on the line for our 49er fan base.
Wonderful. Yeah, the Golden Heart Fund hosting the 4th annual Golden Heart Run presented by Cisco at Levi Stadium tomorrow. Thank you so much, Jesse. Appreciate you spending your time with us, and definitely hope that we can have you and talk to you again soon. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
That was Jesse Sapolo, again, 4-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time NFL Pro Bowler, 13-year NFL veteran, all with your San Francisco 49ers. And there you go. You heard a little insight there. Wasn't expecting that. We knew he had some connection with Tua. Nate did some digging and saw that he'd been at some Dolphins games on his Instagram.
I didn't know his son was a coach.
No idea.
No.
So there you go. I mean, here I was just expecting some light connect. Oh, yeah, you know, award trophy ceremonies. We've met a couple times. Great kid and hope the best for his career. Getting some real insight there from one Jesse Sapolo.
I guess you really should get Kyle as a producer back here. He might be able to find this stuff out.
You're doing great, Nate. You're doing great.
Wow.
Don't beat yourself up at all. Coming up next, again, thank you so much, Jesse Sapolo, for joining us. Coming up next, we'll get into some of those arena records. Devin Booker went crazy last night, set the Intuit Dome scoring record. We'll tell you what the Golden One Center scoring record is. And, of course, I said the other day, Domantas Sabonis has played like the Kings' best player these past couple years. There's some numbers that definitely show not only is Domas playing the best basketball of any Sacramento King, but there are only a couple names of players who are doing what Domantas Sabonis has done. You'll find out what that is next, right here. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Sacramento State football this Saturday at 6 versus Portland State. Get your tickets at hornetsports.com. The holidays can be tough for some, especially if things from your past are still following you around to this day. Now, don't be afraid of your past this upcoming holiday season, as an expungement can help. And that's where the law offices of Jonathan Gonzalez comes in, as he's local and has a great track record. Now that expungement can help you get a job, get your life back in order, and you'll also get your constitutional rights back. He's offering discounts on expungements now through Christmas. Call 916-304-9187. That's 916-304-9187.
Carmichael Dave with a simple question. What are you thankful for this year? So many things to consider, but one thing we can all agree on is a well-running vehicle to get you where you need to go each and every day. Jiffy Lube would like to say thank you to all their customers this November. Whether a weekend road trip to Lake Tahoe or your daily commute to work, Jiffy Lube has you covered. Serving the greater Sacramento area since 1984. Visit jiffylube.com today to find a location near you, generous oil change coupons, and more. Happy Thanksgiving and holiday driving from Jiffy Lube.
Toyota's legendary truck event is on. Hurry in for $2,000 cash back on any 2024 Tundra, or choose a great lease on a new 2024 Tacoma 4x4. Get to your Toyota dealer today, because this truck event will be Toyota. Let's go places. Offer available to TFS buyers with premium rated credit until 11/4/24.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emran Pilati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sacktown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland, and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
Facts are facts, and the facts show that for eliminating hip, knee, back, leg, and foot pain, it's the Good Feet personalized arch support system, clinically proven to provide significant pain relief in only 4 weeks. Good Feet arch supports are designed to help put your feet and whole body back in pain-relieved proper alignment. Good Feet arch supports are HSA and FSA eligible. Book your free fitting at Good Feet in Sacramento, Roseville, and Vacaville.
Kill Switch Engage, live in concert. Saturday, March 15th at Hard Rock Live, Sacramento. With special guests, Publicon TX, Fit for a King, and frozen soul. Kill Switch Engage. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. Kill Switch Engage. Live.
Live and local. Live and local.
Start off, you missed Alan Stiles completely. He was with us until noon and had some early weekend business to take care of. So I will be taking you the rest of the way. And fourth, I think it would be if you missed any of the interviews, which we've already done 2 in just this hour, one with Mark Haynes of the Sacramento Observer. We got his thoughts, I should say, on this Kings season so far, the impact of DeMar DeRozan. Will De'Aaron Fox get a statue one day? Got his thoughts on the Keon versus Kevin, who should start at the shooting guard position. And then if you are just joining us, you just missed Jesse Sapolo, the 4-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time Pro Bowler, and the longtime San Francisco 49er. We got his thoughts on Dominic Pooney and his crazy start to his NFL career, has taken and ran with it. And also, I think it was a really interesting note. Shout out Alan, who is producing the show even in spirit, thought this morning of a really good question. It was the question of asking if he was ever Dominic. I'm sorry, not Dominic, as I was thinking about Dominic Pooney. If Jesse had ever been a part of a team that had started kind of similar to the 49ers so far this year, 4-4, the Niners are, and if he ever had one of those seasons end in success. I didn't want to necessarily say Super Bowl because it could have been an NFC championship run, anything like that, but just does it have to feel like the Niners season is doom and gloom right now? And Jesse in there, don't want to spoil the interview, but he said yes, essentially he has been a part of a team that was in a similar spot as the Niners, and yes, they still ended up winning the championship this year, and even said that's the one that means most to him. So really appreciate Jesse and Mark for hopping on the program. If you missed those, you can go check them out. And probably, I know the Mark Haynes one is up. I'm sure the Jesse Sapolo one will be up very, very shortly on our YouTube channel. You can check out all of our interviews and live shows, video on demand, if you will, over on Sacktown Sports YouTube channel. And I think that's all the plugs and promotions that I need to get in. I hope everyone's having a good Friday so far. We do have, what are we doing? Are we doing UC Davis tickets still? Yeah, UC Davis at 1 o'clock. So in about 10 minutes, you're going to want to switch over. If you're on the app, switch over to YouTube or switch over to your car radios. That will be the best and fastest chance that you will have to get UC Davis tickets as they take on Northern Colorado. I mentioned at the tease that we would talk some scoring records here. Devin Booker last night at the Intuit Dome. For anyone who didn't watch, for what it's worth, the Phoenix Suns, they went nuclear in the third quarter. They were 15 of 15 at one point in the third quarter, completely broke the game open in terms of they were down and then made it into a game and then eventually closed it out at the end, again, into a dome against the Clippers last night. And in doing so, one Devin Booker scored 40 points to set the brand new Intuit Dome scoring record. And Devin Booker now holds the scoring record at 5. Yes, 5 different arenas. Absolute bucket. Of course, Devin Booker owns the record at his own, I don't know what it's called now. I think it was Mohegan. No, whatever it's called now. The Steve Kerr called it a club, a nightclub. And so I believe we only call it Club Phoenix. That's all that we address it as on this show. But Devin Booker has the scoring record there, 58 points in 2022. Footprint Center. Thank you, Nate. See, Kyle would never do that.
Formerly Talking Stick Resort.
Talking Stick Resort Arena. Don't forget. Yes.
Always Club Phoenix.
Always Club Phoenix, though. The Talking Stick Resort Arena is a little Power Balance Pavilion-ish, but we won't get into that. So he had 58 at Club Phoenix in 2022. He also has, this is honestly the craziest thing ever, to have the Boston, now I know it's a different building than the old one, but to have the Boston record for points is definitely very impressive. It was also Devin Booker's career high, 70 points Devin Booker had in Boston in 2017. In Utah, he had a 59-point performance in 2019. And then last season, Devin Booker put up 62 against the Indiana Pacers last season. And again, last night, 40 points in the brand new Intuit Dome, setting the arena record. And so naturally, my brain went to, what's the Golden One Center record? What is the Golden One Center record for most points in a performance on either side? Clearly, Devin Booker only has played for the Phoenix Suns in his career, that still has 4 other building records. So it wouldn't have to be a Sacramento King. And I'm going to give y'all a couple seconds here to throw your final guesses. I feel like a lot of you guys should know, especially for the Golden One Center portion of it. It's only been around since, 2016? So that one should be a little bit easier to try and guess, but also we'll reveal the Arco Arena building record as well. You ready? You ready, ladies and gentlemen? I gave you enough time to guess. The Golden One scoring record is on December 20th of 2016. That should be your answer. One, DeMarcus Cousins has the Golden One Center record that stands today with 55 points on 17 of 28 shooting to go along with 14 boards as the Kings beat the Blazers 126-121, which I believe then immediately led to DeMarcus Cousins' most iconic postgame press conference, or not even press conference. It was just a postgame interview with Katie Christensen, who was doing sideline at the time. And that's where DeMarcus says, is getting ridiculous. It really is. And the reason why I know that was that Portland game is because he mentions, man, they think they got a stopper over there. Man, it's getting ridiculous. And he's talking about Myers Leonard as the stopper over there. So I will always have that game in my mind. Cousins is the last King to score 50 points in a game and the only player to do so more than once since the Kings moved to Sacramento in 1985. So there you go. There you have it. And for what it's worth, DeMarcus Cousins also did have the Sleep Train Arena, Arco Arena, Power Balance Pavilion record as well. 56 points in a game the year that Arco Arena closed. So DeMarcus has the record in both buildings, and I guess the natural question is who would. Yeah, I think Steph is too. Steph is too at 50.
At 50,
yeah. So technically, that's the playoff record, if you will.
Wardell.
Yeah, Wardell. Yeah. Yes, that's definitely a Wardell performance. He does not get. Will not call him Stephen after that. So yeah, Steph has the playoff record at 50 points. Which thanks Nate for reminding us all that happened. In our face, in front of our face, in our building.
Never again.
Hopefully not ever again. So if I had to pick who would be the most likely, well, Keegan had 47. Yeah. So he's got to be at least top 5 of Golden One Center top scorers off the top of my head. That's a decent shout. I mean, that felt fairly effortless. Now, anytime you score 47 points, and I think Keegan was like 12 of 14 from 3, I don't want to say effortless, but Keegan was pretty much just taking and making wide open threes. Like if Keegan were to really stress and try and get more than that, I feel like he could have, if that's in year 8 of his career and maybe not year 2, maybe Keegan's able to put up more than 47. But De'Aaron, I think, is a decent shout, but he's got to be on fire from 3 that game. Kind of feel the same for DeMar. DeMar would probably have to go to the free throw line. I'm not even joking, like 20 times for him to get 50, I would think, at this point in his career. Sabonis, kind of same thing. I think he takes too many 2s, though I guess maybe with the uptick in 3s. Is it kind of crazy to say? No. Would it be crazy to say that Malik is the most likely to drop 50 of anybody, any of those guys, any current King?
Minutes. If Malik is scoring 50, though, I mean, it's got to be a close game, right?
You would think. Yeah, you would think.
It's not that
maybe
great.
Somebody
like
being down, like if De'Aaron's down for a game.
Oh, man.
I don't know. Like
I don't know.
I don't
Malik
know why
would
it
have
just
to just go insane
because he's just like the most like
it's a personality thing.
that too.
Which is
No,
weird,
100%. No,
weird, yeah.
100%. You're definitely onto something because De'Aaron might say like, I could have gotten 50, but
pull the Saquon Barkley.
Teammates were I'm good.
Like,
no, put in the
I don't
rooks.
need to break the
Yeah.
record.
No, 100%. I think Malik would be the one to do it. Malik would definitely be the one to do it. We have a Domantas Sabonis stat for you at some point throughout the show. Don't let me forget that. But coming up next, we got the top of the hour, and you know what that means. Top stories coming up next. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Subscribe to Sacktown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus view archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sacktown Sports.
Easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Get your holidays started with the perfect tree in your perfect style from the Home Depot. Whether you want something that you can assemble in a few clicks, steal the show with over 2,000 color-changing bulbs, or a tree with lights that can be controlled by remote or foot pedal. The Home Depot has it all in our huge assortment of premium trees. Plus, get free delivery on over 2 million items this holiday from the Home Depot. Subject to availability. See homedepot.com/delivery for details.
Tesla, keeping it real too. Saturday, November 9th, the venue at Thunder Valley. Tesla, live. The multi-platinum rock band returns with special guest, Fuel. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com. Tesla, keeping it real tour.
Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Coach Doug Christie here for your truck headquarters, reminding you that every deal at Folsom Lake Ford is a slam dunk. Shop all your favorite models on sale now, including America's best-selling truck for over 47 years, Ford F-Series, plus a huge selection of Broncos, Bronco Sports, and all of Ford's award-winning SUVs at FolsomLakeFord.com. Listen, I know a great play when I see one. And if you want to save on a new Ford, you got to drive the lane straight to Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall. Right now, buy any new Ford with zero down on approval of credit. Save big with low interest financing. And Folsom Lake Ford always pays top dollar for your trade. So hurry to Folsom Lake Ford, a 6-time Triple Crown winner for sales and service excellence. That's why they're my trusted dealer, and they should be yours too. Tell them Coach Doug Christie sent you, or shop them online at FolsomLakeFord.com.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports 1140. Sacktown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports. And we've got your last chance to see UC Davis football play this Saturday, tomorrow, against the Northern Colorado Bears. Not Bears. UC Davis football back in action this Saturday. And right now, we're looking for caller number You know what? It's a family 4-pack. Why not go with number 4? Caller number 4 to score our Stiles and Watkins family 4-pack and parking. Can't forget about the parking. To check out the Aggies hosting Northern Colorado tomorrow. You better hurry in and call up now because we got to get you your tickets and your parking pass before the building closes. And obviously with the game being tomorrow, got to make sure there's no hiccups on that front. So call in now. Call in quick. Get your tickets.
916-339-1140.
That's right. Thank you, Nate.
Via the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline.
Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Thanks, Nate. Appreciate that. Getting the read in, making sure we get all our financials straight. UC Davis. I've mentioned it a couple times. We talk a lot about Sac State. Obviously, Jason Ross, voice of Sac State football on the program, but those UC Davis Aggies, they're making noise this year, like real noise. And after they play Northern Colorado this week, it gets real. They got back-to-back Montanas, Montana State, and then Montana. Might actually be an inverse. I think it is Montana first, then Montana State. And then it's the fun one. It's the Causeway Classic. You got UC Davis against Sac State. So definitely look out for those games. And hope I see Nate on the phone, so I know we got a winner. Hope all our winners this week have a great time down in Aggie Land. And that's a wonderful, wonderful stadium over there. And like Alan said a couple different times, it's going to be a little bit chilly, so make sure that you are properly prepared for the weather. Now let's get into it. You hear the music. It is time for top stories at the top of the hour. Starting first and foremost with the Indiana Fever of the WNBA. We talked about it a couple days ago. They fired Christy Sides, their head coach from the last 2 seasons, and they have now hired Stephanie White as their new head coach. She was the coach of the Connecticut Sun these past couple seasons, has a couple finals appearances. She also played with the Fever during her playing career and has actually already coached the Indiana Fever during the 15 and 16 season. So new name in charge for Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. We'll see how that goes for the Fever this season. It's going to be really interesting this offseason to see the shifting of the WNBA, where teams or where players decide to go. Will players opt to just play with Caitlin Clark for the notoriety of it? I mean, I'm sure that there's a huge boost in, Kelsey Mitchell's of the world for sure. Just playing with Caitlin Clark via osmosis, it feels like your name's going to get out there. And, we've seen that people can make names, by having bad moments with Caitlin Clark. And obviously, I mean, if you're one of her biggest contributing teammates and she starts finding success in the W, it's going to be a really good path to stardom. So it's going to be interesting, this WNBA offseason, what happens there. And I believe I heard the other day on the Warriors broadcast that the Golden State Valkyrie will be having their expansion draft in December. So we'll definitely keep tabs on that as the WNBA offseason unfolds. And as the MLB offseason is now officially underway, this is an interesting one. Jordan Montgomery, who signed with the Diamondbacks this past offseason or this last offseason, exercised his option to play for the Diamondbacks next season after the owner of the Diamondbacks said he was terrible. During an interview with the Burns and Gambo show, which I believe is a Bonneville sister station of ours, Kendrick, the owner, took full responsibility of what he called the team's biggest mistake of last offseason, the Jordan Montgomery contract. He said he pushed the front office to sign the left-hander, which he called a horrible decision in hindsight. The exact quote, let me say it the best way I can. If anyone wants to blame anyone for Jordan Montgomery being a Diamondback, you're talking to the guy that should be blamed. Because I thought I brought it to their attention. I pushed for it. They agreed to it. It wasn't in our game plan. When he was signed right at the end of spring training and looking back, in hindsight, a horrible decision. To have invested that money in a guy that performed as poorly as he did, it's our biggest mistake this season from a talent standpoint. and I'm the reason for it. So there you go. That's the Diamondbacks owner taking responsibility for Jordan Montgomery's terrible season. And what does Jordan Montgomery do? He says, well, I'm going to be terrible next season too. And guess who's paying for it? It's going to be you. So I guess it's a little bit of get back, but probably just best if owners don't make dumb comments like that. We're talking to you, Jerry Jones. Cancel your radio appearance. This one Alan put in here, and I think it's right. Shohei having the best year ever. Since last year, Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto have won Japan the World Baseball Classic. They both signed for a combined $1 billion in contract. They joined the Dodgers together, and then they win the World Series together. I mean, that's pretty much how you drew it up, right? I do wonder, too, what are the ratings in Japan for the World Series comparatively to what it normally is? Because I would imagine the Shohei spectacle, like that's, I don't know, obviously Shohei's a ridiculous player, once in a generation, once in a lifetime, but from the organizational standpoint, you would be ignorant to not think about the global marketing impact that Shohei has. And I wonder how much in general being a Dodger for just a year and now having the year that he had, 50-50, winning the World Series, having some playoff moments, not necessarily World Series moments, but I wonder how much money Shohei has made, or either himself or the Dodgers, just off of like the overseas markets.
I got a number for you here.
Okay.
Just for the first 2 games.
Okay.
I'm going to put the over-under at 9 million. You think more or less in Japan watched the first 2 games of the World Series?
Well, important clarification here, because that sounds crazy already.
Yes.
Because we read earlier today that Game 5 averaged 18.6, and over the duration of the World Series, it had a 15.8 million viewers. And I assume that that's just U.S. I
it has to be because...
Yeah. So, I mean, gut reaction is under.
Yeah.
I assume that's not right.
Is not right. This comes from the New York Times about a day ago. About 15.2 million television viewers in Japan watched each of the first 2 of the World Series on average, compared to 14.5 million in the U.S. So more people
are.
Yeah, about over 500,000. And it starts at 9 a.m. over there, so they watch over breakfast or during their work days.
That's legitimately insane.
Japan does do some crazy stuff. Have you ever heard of the they have insurance there if you make a hole-in-one?
Yes, I have heard that. Yes, because you're supposed to buy everyone drinks.
Everyone
right?
you know
like
ever.
the rest of your life.
It's crazy. So there's companies you can take out insurance with for so.
That's crazy because, I mean, you're talking about the two biggest brands in baseball, Yankees and Dodgers, and everywhere in between.
So American, too, by the way. Just it doesn't get any more American than
Yankees,
that.
Dodgers, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And Japan is just straight out viewing. That's absolutely nuts. That is the stat of the – we don't do a stat of the day on this show, but that is undeniably the stat of the day. That's absolutely incredible. And, again, great work, Nate. Great work.
Kyle would never
in his wildest dreams. And then last but not least, Joel Embiid on the narrative that he doesn't want to play. Joel Embiid, this definitely qualifies in the look. I get it. I totally understand you're a human and you're definitely in your right to have human emotions, but maybe just don't have this be publicly addressed, or don't let the public learn about it. This is what Joel had to say. I don't know where this is being sourced from. Like, I don't know if this is from an article or if he just said it. No, he said it in a press conference. There's a video of this audio. We don't have the audio of it, but I have the direct quote here. Quote, this is from Joel Embiid. When I see people saying he doesn't want to play, I've done way too much for this city, putting myself at risk for people to say that. I think it's BS. And it doesn't say BS. I've done this way too much for this effing city to be treated like this. So it does seem like Philadelphia might have run thin on Joel Embiid. It sounds like maybe, from somebody who went from being the prodigal son, somebody that Philly deemed the process, it sounds like maybe that is no longer becoming the case, as they're getting a little tired of Joel Embiid being tired and not being able to play. So there you go. There you have it. Those are your top stories at the top of the hour. And coming up next, for about the next half hour, Nate and I will be going head-to-head. And I don't think we ever got Alan's picks, but we are going to be giving you our NFL picks for the weekend. And then after that, we will preview Kings, Hawks, do prop talk, and also close it out with some shout-outs and closeouts. You're listening to Stiles and Watkins right here, Sacktown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
And a handoff to McCaffrey. He walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey. Takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10-5. Touchdown. CMC.
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sacktown Sports.
Hey, everybody, it's your boy Kyle Draper. Drapes for Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. Now is the time to buy or lease a Mercedes-Benz van for sale. They have Sprinter vans. You could turn it into a worker cargo van, a worker passenger van, or just a plain old passenger van. They are fully customizable. And one of the things I love about their Sprinter vans, because trust me, I had a chance to check them out myself. I hopped in the Sprinter van, and you guys know I'm a big guy, right? Well, I was able to stand up head to toe and fit perfectly. So if you're interested in the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van for your business or just your personal needs, now is the time to head down to Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. They can help you find the configuration that best suits your needs. Plus, you can take advantage of the huge tax breaks before year's end. Take the short drive down I-5 or go online anytime at mbofstockton.com. That's mbofstockton.com, and tell them your boy Drape sent you.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Stiles and Watkins, bringing you all the way up to 2 o'clock. Then it's the Drive Guys, and then it's the Drive Guys for about an hour, and then it's Scott Marsh and Henry Turner bringing you game night / game day. And then you got the one and only, the G-Man, Gary Gerald, 4:30, Kings, Hawks, tipping off in Atlanta. Tomorrow, you got Kings, Raptors in Toronto. Big game. We previewed it a little bit earlier on the show. It'll be an interesting one. Davion Mitchell's first game against his former team. DeMar DeRozan going back up to the 6. And, of course, Vince Carter, Vinsanity, getting his jersey retired as well. Should be a big, big day on Saturday. Hopefully the Kings, again, bring the proper right of attention to detail, because that crowd is probably going to be on 10 to see Vince and DeMar DeRozan too. So hopefully the Kings are prepared for what should be a pretty exciting game on Saturday. Hopefully it's a blowout like our guest Mark Haynes had to say at 12 o'clock. Again, you can go check out our interview with Mark Haynes of the Sacramento Observer on our YouTube channel. You can also go check out our interview with Jesse Sapolo, 4-time Super Bowl champion, 13-year NFL vet, all with the 49ers. You can also go check that out on our YouTube channel. But now it's time for business. Nate, are you ready for some football as we go through our NFL? What is this, week 9? Week 9 picks.
Yeah, we're in week 9, yeah.
Jeez,
and do
man,
we play music for this?
I think so.
We never know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we can and we should. All right, let's get it started. There we go. Starting off in Atlanta as we are today for Sacramento. Sunday, we'll start with a little Cowboys-Falcons action. The Falcons favored by 3.5, like you said earlier, Nate. Jerry Jones went on Dallas radio to announce that Trayvon Diggs will not be playing, or is questionable and has a partial tear in his calf. He's questionable. Micah Parsons probably going to be out. I think he's listed as out from what I'm seeing here. He will be out. Deron Bland as well will be out. A lot of injuries on the Cowboys front, to be honest with you. Just absolute ton of injuries for them. And then on the Falcons side, them at home, we'll see if they can continue to play some good football here, as they've played pretty well and bounced back from a pretty slow start early in the season. Again, Atlanta favored by 3.5. Nate, I know you're not a Cowboy guy. How are you feeling about this one?
I mean, the only thing you can say for Dallas is desperation.
Right.
And that's not good. Plain
not
and
ideal.
simple. They paid
Not
it.
ideal.
I was going through the Cowboys subreddit this morning looking for that Jerry Jones audio piece, kind of seeing what was up with that. And fans are pissed, to say the least.
imagine.
They are upset that Dak Prescott has been ranked, very lower middle of the pack. They said specifically, I think it was like a CBS or NFL article. He was 19th, and they're like, we paid $60 million to a guy halfway through the season, and they said, a guy who needs an elite team around him to lose in the divisional round. And that's the hard truth right now. So I cannot in my right mind take the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm taking the Falcons too. I think they've been the better team. I do agree that Dallas is the more desperate team, but that does not mean that they're the team that's more likely to win. I think this is the Falcons able to kind of, separate themselves in that division as well. I'm taking the Falcons right there with you, Nate. This one feels like historically it goes one way and one way only. You got the Miami Dolphins making the trip to New York to take on the Buffalo Bills. Bills favored by 6 in this one, and I say it feels like it always goes one direction because it just does. I mean, when you have a Miami team that's used to playing in that Miami weather, and then especially around this time of the year, it's probably going to be fine in Buffalo. I don't know. Let's see here. It looks like, according to ESPN, it's going to be 57 degrees at kickoff. Starting to get cold out there, a little icy, not really that Miami weather they're accustomed to. And the Dolphins just tend to play a little bit worse when things get cold and don't really have the same offensive action. It'll be big for Miami to kind of get Tua back now. They obviously played last week, but a little bit more legs to stand on, no pun intended, this week. I'm going Buffalo even still. I just feel like, again, these are the games that I feel like Buffalo really starts to establish that they especially are a very physical team.
So, divisional game here,
That too.
obviously going to Buffalo. Miami is still in the mix, especially getting Tua back. Like Jesse said, they are a different team. They are significantly better with Tua, and I think that's obvious. That division technically still up for grabs with Buffalo out in front. Patriots are out, right? The Jets just won. Miami, I know I just said desperation doesn't look good on a team. They got beat very, very by 2 points last week to the Arizona Cardinals in a heartbreaking way. I think this is where I step out and go out on a limb here.
Okay.
I am going to take Miami.
Wow.
I don't love it, but we are
It's not
kind of
that I can't
competing
see it
against each
happening,
other. Miami can do it. Divisional games get crazy.
Definitely
I would think Buffalo gets it done, but I am going to rock with Miami in Buffalo.
All right, there you go. And I definitely think it can happen. It just feels like, again, this is like, it just feels like the poster child for a type of game that the Dolphins don't win.
Buffalo's not perfect either.
They are not. No, they are definitely
don't
not
get it
perfect.
twisted.
No, not at all. Especially, I mean, they're still trying to incorporate Amari Cooper into their offense. But, yeah, they are not a perfect team by any stretch of the imagination. Let's go with next, as we do kind of have to speed through some of these. Raiders, Bengals. I don't have much to say on the Raiders front. I just think the Bengals are the better team. Bengals are favored by 7. I believe that's the highest spread of the week. It is not, but it is close to one of the highest spreads of the weekend. I got the Bengals here. I mean, not really much to say. I just think their offense is so much better.
Definitely could be a game where they bungle it, especially against the Raiders. This could be one of those games where the Raiders win, and you're like, the Raiders have beaten the Bengals and the Ravens this year, but I'm going Bengals.
There you go.
In Cincy.
In Cincy as well. Good point. And then here you have Jameis Winston and the Cleveland Browns hosting the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers favored by 1.5. I have to consider the Browns here, especially considering how Jameis played last week. But Jameis is the ultimate trick-or-treat, Jekyll and Hyde quarterback, where 1 week he'll play great. The next week, I can definitely see this being a 3-touchdown, 3-interception game for Jameis, or maybe just a straight-up 3-interception game for Jameis. And we know Harbaugh likes to really key in on the defensive side. I feel like this game's going to be very, very boring.
Just two teams I'm not very familiar with, being AFC, being just rare plays against the Niners. I mean, you got the Harbaugh aspect. I think the Harbaugh defense can stop whatever Cleveland's doing on offense. Just for that sake, I'm going with the Chargers, but for me, it is kind of a toss-up, messy one.
Going up next, we're going to do Titans-Patriots. I'm also taking, for the record, I'm taking the Chargers in that one. Titans-Patriots, these are two of the worst teams in the NFL. I have absolutely nothing to say about it. The Titans are 3.5-point favorites. I'm actually going to take the Patriots in this one.
Yeah, I was looking at a mock draft this morning. It looks like they had Shador going to Tennessee, just reading
Why
up
not?
on that. And
Why not, I guess.
yeah, I think Tennessee is just throwing the towel.
They might as well. I don't know if Rudolph or
Patriots.
Will Levis is starting in this one. It kind of doesn't matter. I guess I feel a little bit better if it's Will Levis, but I honestly don't even know if that's true. And then we got a couple more 10 o'clock games tonight. Let's try and fire through these. Commanders at Giants. Commanders favored by 4. It does appear Jaden Daniels is going to go in that one. I'm going to take the Commanders. I'm going chalk.
Man.
You're thinking Giants.
I'm thinking about it just because of the game we have to play here and trying to pick ones just to – because the Giants did do me well against Seattle in, week 3?
Yeah, you did pick the Giants one week, and they came up big for you.
And I'm not doing it this week. I'm going Commanders.
There we go. One more game before I set up the last 10 o'clock game. Saints-Panthers, two really bad NFC East teams, or I'm sorry, NFC South teams. Panthers 1-7, Saints 2-6. Saints are 7-point favorites. I believe Derek Carr is questionable for this one. I think he's going to be a game-time decision, if I'm not mistaken.
He's not a savior.
He is not a savior. He would definitely like you to know that. I actually don't see him on the injury report, so maybe he is just fully back. If Derek Carr plays, I definitely like the Saints in that one. I actually think I like the Saints regardless, so I'm taking New Orleans.
Well, don't forget week 1, Derek Carr dismantled the Panthers, put up almost 50 points on them.
It's supposed to be Bryce Young in this one still, I believe.
Oh, man. I just will go with the Saints. Boring pick.
That's right. I will set up this one to talk about on the other side. I will say we have a matchup between 2 5-3 teams, and yet somehow, some way, it's the biggest spread of the entire weekend. We'll talk about that game coming up next right here. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find Malik Monk is Sacktown Sports.
Oh my, what an athletic move that time by Malik Monk.
Hey Sacramento, it's Malik Monk and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more. And then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Sacramento State football is back at home this Saturday. Join us for Salute to Heroes Night and check out some high-flying action between your Sacramento State Hornets and the Portland State Vikings. And after the game, stick around for the post-game fireworks show. It's this Saturday, November 2nd at Hornet Stadium. 6 o'clock game time between Sacramento State and Portland State. Tickets on sale now at hornetsports.com. We'll see you there, and Stingers up.
Fall's right around the corner, and there's no better way to experience nature and everything that Northern California has to offer than in a Jeep. And right now, it's Jeep Adventure Days at Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And they've got the deals and selection for you. From sales to service, they're going to prove to you why they deserve your business. Their GM, Chuck Dean, he has this talent of not only getting you the best deal in town, but he also is able to build an inventory that other dealers are jealous of. SacsSuperstore.com and located off of Business 80 across from Hagen Oaks Golf Course. Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
At the law offices of Dale R. Gomes, we understand that when you're facing a crisis, you need more than just a lawyer. You need a team. Our dedicated attorneys work together, combining decades of experience to guide you through personal injury or criminal defense matters with care and expertise. We're committed to supporting you every step of the way, ensuring your voice is heard and your rights are protected. With offices in Sacramento and El Dorado County, reach out to the law offices of Dale R. Gomes today, 916-999-9033, or online at dalegomslaw.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question. Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system and you were a bit surprised at how much it cost? Or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Want to keep your gas-powered engines running like new? Stable's proprietary formulas are proven by third-party testing to outperform the competition in keeping fuel fresh, preventing corrosion, and cleaning the entire fuel system. With Stable, you can have confidence you are doing the right thing for your engine's long-term health. Just pour into your gas can or fuel tank, then top off with fresh fuel. At every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable. Available where fuel additives are sold.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can easily find coverage options that fit your budget. If only it was that easy to name your baby.
How about Jaden?
Nope.
Okay. Michael?
Went to middle school with a glue-eating Michael.
Sebastian?
Dated one in college.
How about Damien?
Vampire name.
All right. Greg?
Not feeling it.
Okay. No worries. No worries. Jeffrey?
Oh, love that one.
Wait, really?
No.
Find coverage options that fit your budget with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Local. Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
A matchup between 2 5-3 teams has the largest spread of the weekend. Make it make sense to me. We'll talk about that in just a couple minutes. I'm seeing some footage of the Dodgers championship parade celebration. They had Ice Cube yet again perform at Dodger Stadium, in the middle of Dodger Stadium. And now there's a video that I saw during the break of Dave Roberts, manager of the Dodgers, rapping right next to Ice Cube. And there's a part where I'll just say Ice Cube says that a body part will hit the floor. And I'll just say that Dave Roberts, he dropped that thing. So that was an interesting little piece of content that I saw there. Also, Dodger fans making jokes, saying somebody at the parade was asked or unprompted grabbed one of the reporters' microphones out there, one of the local news reporters, and said, "Hey, I heard. Guess who just got an invite to drop the ball on New Year's? One Aaron Judge, because he dropped the ball the entire series.
Oh,
so there you go." Pretty decent one. So it looks like Dodger fans are having fun. Things you hate to see for 500, Alex. I also mentioned at the start of the last segment, as we were talking about the Dolphins and the Bills and how that has gone one way, seemingly for these past couple of years. I looked it up again during the break. What would be bad if I told you that the Dolphins just have not done well since 2017? They've played 16 times, Dolphins and Bills. If I said the Dolphins have been really bad against the Bills, what would that be?
4 wins.
They're 2-14 since 2017 against the Buffalo Bills outright. So that has gone one way and one way.
Not even in Buffalo.
Not even. No, it just doesn't matter where it's been. Just outright, that matchup since 2017 has gone 2-14 record.
I'd just like to say, too, put this on the record.
Season.
I think if Allen was here, he would have taken the Raiders over the Bengals. And I wouldn't have blamed him.
I think he would definitely consider it. He
struggles every week.
But the thing is, if you're picking the Raiders, then it has to do like if I could imagine Allen's response to that game, it would be it's more about the Bengals than the Raiders. If that makes sense. It's more about not trusting the Bengals and thinking the Bengals will have an off week versus the Raiders are going to outperform the Bengals.
The Raiders just have such a weird.
It's a weird team. It's so weird. Because again, like even their defense this year was supposed to be the answer. That was the thing that I was told all preseason as I was trying to tell everyone, I think the Raiders are going to be trash again. And I like the Raiders. I like the Raiders fans. I have most of my friends are Raider fans and I have no
Raider friends.
I have no distaste for them. As a matter of fact, I sympathize for them and I want them to be happy and want them to succeed. But I can't. I need them to meet me halfway and try and sell me on it. Is Alan texting you?
I got the text. Yeah. So I sent in the break. If you want to, you could just type your picks in the rundown sheet. No big deal. I have his picks here. Do you think he took the Raiders?
No, because he had to sit and think about it.
You're right. He took the Bengals.
Yeah.
Took the Bengals.
But I think if he was doing it on the fly, I think he would have.
Very similar stuff. He did take the Cowboys though.
Okay.
Yeah, Cowboys in Atlanta.
Yeah. I think if I had to guess again, Alan would say this is what the Cowboys do.
It's a desperation
what
pick.
The Cowboys do. And
what they do.
He has also been very much on the desperation hype as well. But if I had to imagine, and we'll get Alan's slate of picks once we wrap up ours, and let's continue where we left off with those 2 5-3 teams that are going against each other. And again, the biggest spread of the entire weekend. Make it make sense for me. Broncos at Ravens. I'm not a Broncos guy. I'm not. I don't think that Bo Nix has really impressed me. I will say last week was the most impressed I have been with Bo Nix, and maybe I'm not giving him enough of a leash here to prove me wrong and to show that, it's not just a flash in the pan, but this will definitely be an answer for sure. If Bo Nix plays well against the Ravens, not that the Ravens necessarily have been the standard of good play as they've dropped 2, frankly, embarrassing games. Last week against the 1-win Browns and then the week 2 against the Raiders. I'm not saying that it's the end all be all, but I think Bo Nix playing well this week would go a long way. 9.5-point spread for the Ravens. That is absolutely crazy, but I am still picking the Ravens to win. It just feels like if you're starting the line at the Ravens have to win by 10, that's where I kind of start to have some hesitation.
I think this is a lock of the week for me.
No
brainer, like Ravens. No brainer.
Moving on to the 1 o'clock games. That's the last of the 10 o'clock games. 1 o'clock. Let's see here. How would I rank or how would I grade these 1 o'clock games? We have Jags, Eagles, Bears, Cardinals, Lions, Packers, Seahawks, Rams. America's game of the week is definitely Lions, Packers, 6-1 versus 6-2.
I'll give them a B-.
Yeah.
And I think it's mostly because Philly. Yeah. Oh, you know what?
Rams, Seahawks is there.
It's important for me too as an Irish fan.
Cardinals, Bears. It's not super exciting, but it's Caleb versus Kyler. Jags, Eagles. Ugh, that sounds like a London game to me. And we'll start there. Jags, Eagles. Eagles favored by 7.5. 5-2 Eagles. 2-6 Jags in Philly. I don't really want to – this is not where I want to get spicy. I think the Jags, again, like we said earlier, I kind of feel like Doug Peterson is inching towards first coach fired territory. This might be the nail in the coffin. Nick Sirianni, hey, he might also catch a lot more flack. He might return to the hot seat if they lose this one. But I think the Eagles are gonna win this one, and it's going to be the worst 6-2 record or like the most misleading 6-2 record you've ever seen.
Yeah, and they had one of those records last year, too.
They did, yeah. So. What, were they undefeated through 12 weeks or something? Yeah,
crazy. You don't have to go out on a limb here because I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the Jags.
Okay.
Just for fun.
Why not?
Not too much there.
All right,
just
a little
for
Friday fun.
Yeah.
Why not? 1 o'clock game as well. Bears, Cardinals in Arizona. Cardinals favored by 2. I actually like the Bears in this one. The Bears are 0-3 on the road so far this year. The Cardinals continue to be the biggest thorn in my side. It feels like every week I pick against them, they win. Every week I pick for them, they lose. So I guess I'm doing the Cardinals a favor. I do think the Bears defense is actually pretty good. We'll see how they fare against the middle-of-the-road Cardinals team. I like the Bears in this one, actually. I'm picking the road upset.
I'm rocking with the Bears with the kind of preference that you said Allen would have with the Raiders. The Raiders. Being it's more about the Cardinals just not getting it done and just being so streaky.
Yeah.
I believe they just had their first back-to-back wins in about 47, 46 games or something.
Chargers and Dolphins.
Yeah. I just going with the Bears.
Yeah, it just feels safer. I don't know why. I just feel a lot safer going with the Bears in that one. And then moving on to what I called the NFL America's Game of the Week. You have the 6-1 Lions going against the 6-2 Green Bay Packers. Two teams that, I'm not the biggest fans of. Detroit is actually the road favorite, -3 in Lambeau against the Packers. I want to agree. I really do. I think the Lions are the superior team of the two. I just wonder how that Lambeau, let's see here. It does look like there's going to be some weather that plays into a factor here.
Well, Jordan Love's coming off that injury too, and I just looked it up. The first
MCL, right?
Yes.
I think it was a strained MCL or something.
Not his back, his lower back.
Oh, is it? Okay. I know he was having knee issues.
Jordan Love, this is the thing I see headline. Jordan Love thinks it's realistic he'll play Lions without even practicing. So it might be a tough one for him.
Let's see here. According to AccuWeather.com, it looks like there is going to be rain. 66% chance of rain at noon, 66% chance of rain at 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 71% chance of rain. So it seems like it will not be a nice day at Lambeau. That is also real grass, so maybe if you're into the turf versus grass conversation, there might be an edge that you give there. I think I like the Lions. You're right. Like betting on Jordan Love to play well against one of the best teams in the NFL while coming back from an injury, I think is a bit of a tall task. Josh Jacobs has been okay, but I haven't had my socks wowed off by him. I think the Lions, with their good rushing attack, get this one done and just kind of take care of business in what might be a really boring game as well because of the weather. Nate, where are you going?
I'm expecting Love to play. And
I would think so.
So the Lions coming off one of their best games as a franchise, I could confidently say without looking at any records or anything. With that said, I've seen the Niners do that and then be a little too confident and just, just make a mess in the bed.
Flat,
Division.
This is a big rivalry.
I'm just taking the Packers again, man. I have some bad analysis this week. I'm just taking the Packers.
I think this game means more to the Lions. If I know anything about this division, the Packers have been the top dog for the longest. Like they're the ones that the Bears, the Vikings, the Lions all look at as the big bad. I kind of think the Lions care about this game more than the Packers do. We'll see, though. We'll see how it ends up shaking out. The Lions 3-0 on the road so far this season. We got 2 more games, Nate. We got your favorite 2 teams on planet Earth. Nate, you have to pick one. You can't pick neither. You got your Los Angeles Rams taking on your Seattle Seahawks. Nate, I'll go first because I'll let you think about how you're going to try and weasel your way out of this. The Rams are a 1-point favorite in Seattle. The Rams coming off a big win last week. Actually, 2 straight wins, one against the Raiders and then, a big win last week against my Minnesota Vikings. They appear to be a little bit healthier. Also, I guess Sean McVay is saying he wouldn't bet against Puka Nacua playing, so I think that's going to be a game-time decision. But you see how different the Rams look when they have their full complement of receivers. I'm taking the Rams. I am all in on the Rams. They are my team version of Trevor Lawrence. I can't quit them.
Okay. All right, here we go.
All right, Nate.
I think you're going to be
look
impressed.
like you have a prepared speech in front of you, so I can't wait how you're going to technicality yourself out of this one.
The most recent NFL game to end in a tie was on December 4th, 2022 in the NFC with the New York Giants and the Washington Commanders. I don't hate the Rams as much as I hate the Seahawks.
No,
I really don't. I genuinely have
really hate the
a
Seahawks.
Burning hatred for the Seattle Seahawks.
Really, really hate
and I'll never take them, and I'm not taking them today.
You're saying a tie?
I was thinking about taking a tie.
I will say if you call a tie correctly, I will let you win the season.
Okay.
If you correctly
then I'm going to call the tie. I'm going to call the tie. That would be insane.
Alan's not going to be happy, but I'm allowing it.
If any of these games this week were to tie, this one's got pretty good odds.
I would say so. This one or the Cardinals one to me feels like the Bears-Cardinals could definitely be like an 18-18 tie.
I am off the rails today. I'm sorry. This is
what do you mean
these
today?
Picks are terrible.
Today?
I mean, off the rails for me. I guess off the rails for me would be on the rails. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. Last game is the one that I care about the most. It's the one that we've actually kind of been talking about more so just from one side of the field. 5:20, the night game. I'm pretty surprised that this is the Sunday night football game. They decided to flex into this spot. You have the Indianapolis Colts, who will be led by one Joseph Flacco, going against my Minnesota Vikings, who are kind of reeling at the moment. Don't look now, but the Vikings have lost 2 in a row. I actually like the Vikings' chances in this one. I don't think it's going to be the same struggle that we've seen where Sam Darnold starts off really hot and then turns the ball over in these past 2 games. He hasn't even started hot. I know the Colts are a more dangerous team with Joe Flacco, unquestionably, but I think this is a good opportunity for the Vikings to get a little bit of a get-right game at home Sunday night. I will say typically the Vikings do absolutely terrible, like horrible in primetime television, so that makes me nervous. But last time these two teams played, the Vikings had the biggest comeback, I think, of all time, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out Jeff Saturday. I will always, always think of you when we play the Colts. Vikings 5-point favorites. No shocker here. I'm going Skull Nation. I'm going Vikes. Nate, make my day. Who are you going with?
Oh, man. Sorry. I had
No, you're good. You're good. I know. I saw you were producing back there.
With the Sacramento Kings there for a second.
Oh,
we had to
really?
get our guy Kyle Draper connected.
Okay.
We have the Lions and who?
No,
not Lions.
neither. We have my
Vikings?
Minnesota Vikings against the Indianapolis Colts. Sunday Night Football in Minnesota.
Yeah,
5-point favorites,
dude,
the Vikings.
I cannot take – the Vikings lost 2 in a row,
2
right?
in a row, yep.
I cannot take the Colts after the disarray they're in. Yeah. We've done 2 days on Anthony Richardson here.
Almost exclusively.
Yeah, and I'm not taking the Colts. I still like the Vikings. They're not a top 3 team in the league.
They are not. Thank
but
you.
I like them against the Colts.
I do as well, and there you have it. Those are our Week 9 NFL picks. Coming up next, the last segment of the day. We've got Kings-Hawks preview. We do a little bit of prop talk for your weekend as well, and end the show with shout-outs and closeouts, leading you to the drive, guys, for an hour, a marathon show for Whitey Gleason and Kyle Draper. We talk about that next, right here. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out SacktownSports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and The Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on SacktownSports.com.
Sacramento State football this Saturday at 6 versus Portland State. Get your tickets at HornetSports.com.
Carmichael Dave with a simple question. What are you thankful for this year? So many things to consider, but one thing we can all agree on is a well-running vehicle to get you where you need to go each and every day. Jiffy Lube would like to say thank you to all their customers this November. Whether a weekend road trip to Lake Tahoe or your daily commute to work, Jiffy Lube has you covered. Serving the greater Sacramento area since 1984. Visit jiffylube.com today to find a location near you, generous oil change coupons, and more. Happy Thanksgiving and holiday driving from Jiffy Lube.
The garage won't open again.
We're all out of coffee.
Life has enough surprises. Your car shouldn't be one of them. Stockton Honda keeps your car worry-free. From routine maintenance to that something's not right moment, our certified Honda experts know how to fix it right the first time. Here you go, ma'am. You're all set.
Thank you.
Stockton Honda Service Department, keeping you ready for the road ahead.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Yeah. Kill Switch Engage. Live in concert. Saturday, March 15th at Hard Rock Live, Sacramento. With special guests, Gublicon TX, Fit for a King, and Frozen Soul. Kill Switch Engage. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. Kill Switch Engage. Live.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Sacktown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
All right, we've got a loaded final segment on the show today. It's been a great week. Hope everybody is gearing up for a great weekend as well. Taking you all the way up to the Drive Guys at 2 o'clock. Whitey Gleason and one Kyle Draper, who is remote in Atlanta, I assume, getting ready for Kings Hawks. That one tips off right here, Sacktown Sports 1140 at 4:30. Again, after the Drive Guys are done, you can hear Game Night / Game Day today with Scott Marsh and Henry Turner. That takes you from 3 to 4, and then from 4 to 4:30, Jason Ross and the G-Man got you on Kings pregame. So don't touch that dial. You don't need to. All day, we got you locked in right here, Sacktown Sports. Let's get into this Kings Hawks preview, some very important numbers. And I'm not going to be honest, some days are easier than others in terms of getting prepared for the preview segment. And today was an easy one, more so because the Hawks and the Toronto Raptors really do share a lot of similarities. For tonight's game, Atlanta last in opponent three-point percentage at 42.1%. We read earlier that the Raptors are, I believe, 29th in opponent three-point percentage. So this entire weekend, it should be the city of threes, y'all. We want to see the Kings put it up from the perimeter. Keegan Murray, I'm looking at you. We're selling the prop talk early. Keegan Murray, please hit a couple triples. Kevin Huerter, big night for triples. Maybe Trey Lyles knocks down a couple triples for the first time this season. But the Atlanta Hawks allow opponents to shoot 42% from three. The Kings have to continue that trend if they want to win easy, like guest Mark Haynes said earlier today at 12 o'clock. You can either go listen to that in the video on demand version of the show, or you can check it out on YouTube. We have that thing cut up. The Atlanta Hawks, much like the Toronto Raptors, the Raptors were last 30th in defensive rating. The Atlanta Hawks 28th in defensive rating at 118.6 points per 100 possessions. On the offensive rating front, 14th in offensive rating. So they're a little bit more, I won't say balanced than the Toronto Raptors, but at the very least, where the Raptors are 30th and 18th on the bottom half of both of those sides, at least the Hawks have been a slightly, now emphasis on slightly, above average offense this season. And, that's always going to be pretty manageable when you got a guy like Trae Young out there. Jalen Johnson is going to be the name to watch, I believe, tonight or today at 4:30 for that tip-off. Jalen Johnson has definitely taken a massive step forward in his role for that team. Me and Alan joked all summer about how he was Atlanta's really only untouchable, and that is definitely played out when you look at their product on the floor. It's been a very, very tough start for the Hawks this season, not in terms of opponent quality, but in terms of the results they've gotten. Me and Alan also mentioned earlier this week, they just lost back-to-back games to the Washington Wizards. They have losses to the Wizards back-to-back. They also lost to the Thunder. They have beaten Jordy's Brooklyn Nets and the Charlotte Hornets. So far, really the only good team they've played, they lost to by a score of 128-104. That was to the Thunder, and they've already lost 2 games to the Wizards. And they were able to beat 2 weaker opponents in the Hornets and the Nets. So still not a complete picture on who this Atlanta Hawks team is, but I think nonetheless, it's a team that we know this Sacramento Kings team is absolutely better than. They are also 27th in opponents' second chance points, which does lead us into Prop Talk, where I am definitely looking at the Domantas Sabonis rebound total. It's looking at 12.5. That was pretty much the standard for last year. Sabonis averaged 12 rebounds per game last year, so it always is hovering somewhere around that number. Also want to get the injury report out here real quick before we get into Prop Talk officially. On the Kings side, we know Devin Carter is out. Orlando Robinson is still out with that left MCL sprain. Mason Jones and Isaiah Crawford will also be unavailable tonight due to them being assigned to the G League. On the Atlanta front, it will not be a Bogdan Bogdanovic revenge game as he is out with a right hamstring. DeAndre Hunter is out with a right knee injury. Dyson Daniels, who's also been really good for Atlanta to start this season, newcomer over there. He has a hip flexor strain, and he will be out. Cody Buffkin also out tonight. Cody Zeller is also out tonight. So Atlanta, not only do they not play well, but they are missing a lot of players on their side. It should be, hopefully, again, like Mark Haynes said, one of these two games, big blowout for the Kings. That would be exactly what the doctor ordered. Now let's go into Prop Talk. Nate, I see you've circled something on your Prop Talk calendar.
So we have a kind of a similar thought process here. We're both going assists. Yep. There was another one that really stuck out to me, and it's a devil. DeMar DeRozan, devil just means it's harder. DeMar DeRozan, 5.5 rebounds. I kind of like that for more. I'm not going to take that. Yeah. But I do think it's an interesting one to keep in mind. I'm going to rock with Domantas Sabonis. He's set at 6.5 assists. Oh, I think he's going to go under. I think 5 or 6. And I like it. It's not a knock against Sabonis. It's just, I think the man plays 31 minutes tonight. Hopefully. I don't think he has the time to because I think the Kings are serving up a beatdown like Mark Haynes is been teasing all show, right? So Sabonis assists 6.5, taking the under.
I like it, Nate. I really do like it. His assists in general have been down this season. He only has 2 games where he's finished over that 6.5 mark. He had 7 against Portland, and he had a triple-double 10 against the Lakers. So it is a good shout, especially when you compare it to his stats last year. That was a pretty much given that he would be over 6.5. So I think this year it's a little bit of a better thing to look at is that assist number under for Sabonis. Nate is going under 6.5 assists. I'm going the over on DeMar DeRozan assists. I'm taking the over 4.5 number. I just think from the perimeter is really where the Kings are going to look to attack tonight. And that's obviously not DeMar's expertise, his forte. I think he drags a lot of attention and kicks it out to the outside. Big night for Keegan Murray and big night for Kevin Huerter today in his return to Atlanta. Again, that tip-off's at 4:30. We'll have that for you. Shout-outs and closeouts really, really fast here, Nate. We're good to get out of here. But I just wanted to shout out my dad real quick, who retired this weekend from the state. He's been working for the state my entire life, so I don't even know exactly how many years he's been putting in service. But definitely want to shout out my dad, who has officially called it quits on a career. It was a great career, and I know he's going to enjoy retirement a little bit too much. Yes. You said Coach Watkins? Yes, he coached just about everything that I ever did growing up. So shout out, Pops. Hope you can enjoy your retirement, and we'll definitely see each other out on the links quite a bit this year. Nate, you got anything? Shout outs, closeouts?
Shout out your dad, man.
Shout out Pops, man. Come on, what are we talking about? Shout out on Stiles. Couldn't finish the show today. Just taking care of some business. He'll be back on Monday, where we will be talking about the Kings lighting the beam twice and then about to light it again on Monday against the Miami Heat. Hope you all enjoy. You got the Drive Guys next, taking you all the way up to 3 o'clock. Game night with Scott Marsh and Henry Turner. Can't wait for the Drive Guys. Kevin Michael Whitey Gleason, Kyle Draper on your airwaves coming up next. Thank y'all. Have a great weekend.
The Beam Team plays here.
How many times I seen that beam lit up when I was chilling at home? What's the significance of pushing this button? You know, like I said, when it solves off.
We live and breathe Sacramento Kings basketball.
Live and local with the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys.
This is your home for the Sacramento Kings. Sacktown Sports 1140. This is an announcement to all United States vehicle owners who own a 2003 or newer vehicle with a manufacturer's warranty about to expire or no warranty coverage at all. With a struggling economy and the cost of living on the rise, Endurance is now offering an affordable, low-cost vehicle coverage plan to the general public. As of today, you could be one of millions of drivers that now may qualify to have your vehicle protected under this coverage and have all future covered auto repairs paid directly to the repair shop for you. You pick your plan. You pick your deductible. You even pick the repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental coverage is included. Get your vehicle protected now and save your wallet from costly vehicle repairs. A toll-free number has been established for you to call for your free 5-minute quote and to see if you qualify. The number to call is 800-290-0239. 800-290-0239. Again, that's 800-290-0239. Coverage deductibles and claims may vary. For details, go to